Okay. I probably do not have enough free time to finish this damn thing. But we're gonna take a stab at getting through some more of it at least, while I've got some time. Not a lot, but some. All right, let's double check here. Yeah, we're still at 1.5 speed. All right.
No one's telling you to stream or do anything, but all we're saying is we don't like this guy. Here's why, and we don't want to stream with him anymore.
Hate it when fucking YouTube reloads the video after you
any human being on this fucking planet to host them on my channel. And so me announcing that there are people who are persona non grata on my channel, that's a lot more honest than me just never having them on again, never telling you why. I have been full within my rights to do that as a human fucking being, and anyone else has the rights to do that to me or not, and I don't consider myself being canceled over that. Yeah. So that's that. Chat, let me get caught up with...
Well, I don't remember precisely what they were saying before that, but I would agree that she has every right to have people back or not as she chooses. I don't see why anyone would take issue with that. Although you could easily take issue with whatever her explanation is for why, if you think it's a bullshit explanation.
With you guys a little bit.
I would like to counter something, and I understand. Look, like I said, guys, there's gonna be and rightfully so. Everybody should be able to defend themselves, and I don't begrudge Tom speaking up to defend himself. Absolutely, and you should, because at the end of the day, you're the only one who may have your back. You're the only person who you and your mom are the only people you can ever be sure are going to have your own damn back, right? So I don't begrudge Tom doing what anybody would do, and this become incredibly defensive. But the idea that Tom didn't know how he made me feel after countless conversations,
probably not true. Everybody's
after
mother
screaming,
sadly,
after me
but
telling him
most,
multiple times,
in my experience,
after me telling him multiple times, I can't do it anymore. I can't do this, Tom. I'm tired. It's exhausting. The constant screaming and the pressure and the feeling like nothing I do is enough. That I am utterly and woefully inadequate, despite the fact that a year ago you told me I was a star and so valuable, and now I am just a constant pain in your ass. That I am.
Again, just wow, this stuff is heavy, says Anubis T800. Is it really though? It's not. It's not really heavy. It's not. No, it's just. Oh God. Like I said, I keep on being surprised at how seriously she's taking this. It's like, okay, the guy, talked over you. Maybe he's, complained about how you're doing things or whatever. It's like, look, either you need to be able to just take the criticism and either, try to improve if you think there really is an issue, or just fucking ignore him if you think there isn't one. And if you can't take it, then just leave. Just quit working with the guy. It's like that was all you had to do all along, and all of them that are complaining about Tom basically are keep on talking like, oh, there was nothing we could do. We were trapped in this situation. It's like, no, he wasn't. He wasn't trapping you. There was nothing. It's like the only way that you wound up feeling that way is because you wanted access to his audience. You didn't want to lose that, and so you felt like, oh, well, I've got to put up with him in order to keep having access to his audience. God.
Difficult. The idea that you weren't aware of the stress levels that it placed on me to feel so precariously placed and very much at your whim is absurd.
Again, as I just said, the only reason you felt that way, Mary, is because you wanted his audience. And as long as, and that was on you. That was on you to place such a high importance upon access to the Midnight's Edge audience or whatever, and feel like, oh, I've got to take whatever he throws at me because I don't want to lose that. It's like, that's on you. If you didn't feel that way, or if you were prepared to do hold the reasonable position of, look, I'm only going to, I might put up with some crap, but I'm not going to take too much, it's not worth it. If you just taken that attitude to start with, then you wouldn't have ever felt like he had anything to hold over you, because he wouldn't have. So it's like, you to the extent that he had any fucking power over you whatsoever, it was all power you gave him. And that is entirely on you.
Not only did you know, I believe you knew what you were doing. But when I begged you to fix it, inevitably 2 months later, 3 months later, I'm right back where I started with you. I'm right back to you screaming at me because I didn't give you the last song on karaoke. I'm right back to you screaming at me because I had...
Mecca, I had no intention of anyone having to go through this. I thought it was just me until recently. I did not ask anyone to go public. Major small eggplant energy. God. For Christ's sake, Tom, did you hear that? Oh, man. The simps. The simps. Jeez. It's just unreal.
Stieg on shenanigans. I'm right back at you screaming at me because I don't think Baby Yoda should eat this poor woman's last of her children. How?
I'd be if somebody can give me can give me a link or a clip or something of that. I'd love to see that. I'd love to see the act. I mean, there's so many fucking live streams, and I don't know whether they're still up or whether they've been taken down or some shit. But there's so many of them. I don't want to be trying to comb through them all. But if somebody happens to know, which one it is and can point it out to me, give me a timestamp, hopefully. I would like to see what it is that she's talking about, where she's like, oh, he's yelling at me over, assuming it happened on stream, which, at least some of this she seems to be saying, oh, it happened on stream. It's out there for everybody to see, and it's like, okay, well, but you're not pointing us at any of these streams, Mary, and it's just, I don't know. I cannot imagine that he was yelling at her in public, on the stream, in a way that's as bad as she makes it sound. Like, she makes it sound like, oh my God, he's just so abusive towards me verbally, and it's like, somehow I suspect that if I heard that, my opinion would be, no, it didn't sound that bad. I don't know, because I haven't heard it, but I keep thinking that's probably going to be the case, because it's just like everything else. It's like, their take on everything is just, like, it's they turn it up their emotions to 11 or something, and just, they're overreacting to every goddamn thing. And to me, it's like, you're making, I mean, again, it's mountains out of molehills. At this point, it's a whole fucking, it's the Himalayas out of a fucking, molehill. Oh.
How do I deserve? I don't care if I am just absolutely frustrating and annoying for you. I don't deserve to be screamed at like some dog. I'm a person.
God.
And I can talk to you.
Yep. I can't abide that level.
It's just, what is it with the what is the deal here, for fuck's sake? This, oh, you just treated me so badly. It's like, okay, assuming that was true, why didn't you just leave? And of course, like I said, we already know the answer. We know the answer, and they're not really admitting it. Like, they're kind of admitting it, but not really. They're not coming out and admitting that, yes, it was all my fault because I kept on putting up with it because I felt like I had to, because I wanted something from him. It's like, if they just done the reasonable thing of being like, nah, it's not worth it. Access to your audience is not worth it, Tom. You're an asshole, so fuck off. Then the whole thing would have been over the first fucking time that he yelled at her and she didn't like it. But instead, it's like, no, apparently she put up with it for God only knows how many months or years.
Disrespect. And that's, it's my Regina George analogy. Wonderful part in Mean Girls where Tina Fey asked the auditorium, raise your hand if you've ever been victimized by Regina George. And everybody fucking raises their hand. And this is the moment. Raise your hand if you've ever felt disrespected by Tom. Some of us more than others. Some of us, dear God, have borne a brunt that nobody should have to bear. But everybody, and not just the women, every fucking person who has stuck around with him long enough at some point has experienced him talking over them, has experienced him disrespecting them.
If you've been on a live stream, on any live stream long enough with other people, then you've been talked over. It fucking happens. But you keep on acting like, oh, he always does that. And it's like, well, what about that High Council stream? It's like, I EFAP that motherfucker. It's like, did he talk over Mecca constantly? Like, she kept on making it sound like he was always doing? No. She kept quiet for a huge portion of the stream, which, as I recall, when she first got on the High Council, or maybe when she was guest she was a guest on the High Council for a while before that. I remember noticing that. I remember noticing that, yeah, she just didn't talk that much, and that's on her. And just generally speaking, yeah, it does seem like women don't talk. I mean, not all women, obviously, but on average, they tend to not be as, they tend to not interject themselves in the flow of the conversation as much as the guys do. So if there's a bunch of guys and there's one or two women, it's like they tend more often than not to be kind of quiet. And I don't know if they're waiting for a turn or what, and see, that's the thing that also doesn't make sense though to me, is that I've seen streams. I like I said, I've had to leave before, because I just can't take the screeching. But when there's like a whole host of women, I mean, like I said, not too bad right now. There's only 3 of them, but when there's like 5 or 6 of them on stream together, it's like they're talking over each other constantly. It's weird. It's like, there'll be moments where nobody's talking, and then there'll be an eruption of all of them trying to talk at the same time, and it's like I said, it's nails on a chalkboard time. But so I don't get this complaint of he talks over you. I mean, like I said, what little I've actually seen, it doesn't look like he did a whole lot of waiting till they're talking and then he talks over them to shut them up or something, which is what they make it all sound like. And it's like, I'm not getting that. I mean, you want to give me an example? You want to point me at a stream where he's doing that all the time? Okay, I'll take a look at it and I'll judge based on what evidence I find there. But you just saying it, it's like you saying, like I said, in previous videos that I've done, looking at their streams talking about this shit, like the stream on Jesse's channel before this one was the one where her and Anna were on and talking about it, and how they all decided that, oh, Tom drug Anna into it. Tom was attacking Anna, and it's like, no, he wasn't. That's bullshit. That's a lie. He wasn't attacking her. He didn't drag her into anything. He merely referenced her. Which apparently is not allowed. It's not allowed. And, again, they all were like, oh, he's attacking her. He's shit-talking her. It's like, he wasn't shit-talking her. You oversensitive, silly-ass children. He was not attacking Anna. He wasn't. So the fact that you judge that was an attack, that leads me to believe that you're massively overreacting to everything, and I'm not going to take your word for it when you say, oh, Tom was bullying me, oh, Tom was talking over me, Tom was trying to shut me up. It's like, evidence. Give me evidence. Because so far what evidence I have had access to leads me to believe that your take on things is just wrong.
Has experienced him unable to let something go simply because that's why we got here in the first place. Because Tom, for some fucking reason, dragged poor Anna into this, wants nothing to do with this.
Oh my god! See, I didn't. I think I did. No, I don't think I watched this all the way through. I didn't even know that was fucking coming up. But there we go. There's another once again, their bullshit take on, oh, he dragged Anna into... No, he didn't. He didn't drag her into anything. He didn't attack her. He merely referenced her. It was you other fuckwads that decided to take it as an attack, including Anna herself, unfortunately. By and large, she seems to have been a little bit more level-headed in all this crap than Jesse and Mecca and whoever else, Mary. But she's still the same as the rest of them, acting like, oh, he attacked me. It's like, he didn't attack you. He didn't. God damn it.
Nothing to do with this. In any of this, any drama period, drags her into some unrelated drama.
Lie. He did not drag her into anything.
He cannot let it go. He cannot leave it with, well, I just don't see it that way. I just disagree. Great. You thought it was over, but no.
You say didn't see it that way, but the whole thing of that High Council stream, where the last one he was on, the last one Mecca was on as well, the same, the whole thing of that is that everybody acted like Tom was disagreeing with them, but he wasn't. He was making a separate point, and they were the ones who wouldn't let it go. They were making one point, he was making another separate point that was not in opposition to theirs. He understood, mentioned several times he understood their point and agreed with it. There, and at one or two spots, Comics Division kind of acted like he understood that Tom was making a separate point, but then he'd go right back to talking, to arguing it with him as though he had suddenly forgotten that, oh yeah, Tom was making a separate point that I actually already agreed with. It's like they kept on going back and forth. It's like, so it's like, yeah, wouldn't leave it alone. It's like, yeah, Tom wouldn't leave alone his point that he was trying to make, that you can argue that maybe he should have just, the last couple of times he tried to, hammer home his point, which no one was like actually legitimately disagreeing with. They were just all kind of acting like he was disagreeing with their point, which he wasn't doing. But anyway, like I said, it's you can say that maybe he just should have shut the fuck up. He should have accepted that, yeah, these assholes are not willing to hear you out, Tom. They're not willing to actually understand what the fuck you're saying, even though they claim at a couple of points, Comics Division at least, claimed to have understood. He still apparently didn't. Not really. So you can say that, yeah, Tom made a mistake by not just leaving it alone, leaving well enough alone when they'd stopped talking about it, when they'd stopped acting like, we're going to argue with you about nothing, essentially. Mecca, Tom has screamed at me over having Rob, what is with the two B's in Rob? That is so weird, on my channel. Again, evidence, Mecca. What did he say? I mean, he just said, what the fuck are you doing with my friend on your channel? It's like, if he helped the two of you get together romantically, then I should think that he wouldn't be at all surprised that Rob's on your channel. I don't know. Maybe he just didn't want Rob associated with any of your crazy defamatory rantings about Zack Snyder. That's always possible,
He comes back to it over and over. He cannot let it go. He cannot leave it alone until Mecca can't fucking take it anymore and takes a goddamn stand. So that's
a against what? Against what? Finally took a stand. Against what? Against his non-attack against Anne. Is simply referencing her in pointing out, hey, maybe we should just leave the SJWs alone. It's like when, not give them any oxygen. When we criticize them and we don't, and we've got somebody on our side who's kind of doing the same thing. Maybe it's not exactly the same thing, but it's similar. Maybe we shouldn't talk about them doing it. Let them do it. Deny them any coverage, any oxygen, and then nobody will hear about the bullshit that they pulled. When it's just some pissant person on Twitter or whatever, or Instagram or whatever the fuck platform it was. He had a valid point. Like, there's no reason to blow something like that up, unless of course you're doing it just for clicks. And of course we know that that's what they're doing. But still, you get my point. It's like, get his point. That he has a fair point, saying let's just not talk about about the little so and so's that decide to do something like that. Let's not make a big deal of it. That's all he was saying. That's all he was saying. That's the only point he was really trying to make. And it's like, he wasn't attacking Anna, and he wasn't shit talking anybody. That's a bunch of bullshit. So, no, it's clearly Mecca having some kind of issue with him, personally, that made her decide to make a big deal out of all this shit. And, again, it's like, most of that, I mean, there's all kinds of accusations that she's made, but honestly, the most apparent real thing that seems to be going on is she was saying, like I said, defamatory things about Zack Snyder and his dead daughter, that obviously, even if you don't, even if it's unlikely that Zack Snyder is going to actually take notice and and sue anybody over it, it still makes Mecca and everybody associated with her look absolutely radioactive. It's a terrible look to be associated with somebody who's flinging that kind of shit around. And so I don't blame Tom for not wanting, his name, his brand, my brand, tarnished, by Mecca. And again, like I said, it's like all it takes is one, or a host perhaps, of the, Zack Snyder simps or stans or whatever the fuck you want to call them, going and running to YouTube and talking about how these people are attacking Zack Snyder's dead daughter and saying that, he passed her around Pedowood and shit. And all their channels could be gone just like that. I mean, it could happen. let's be clear about that. It's like, you don't have to have been sued or done anything illegal necessarily for YouTube to decide, oh, your channel's gone. So, so Tom's attitude towards her saying shit like that, and I don't know what other shit of that kind she may have said, but it seems like maybe, seems like in the previous stream, Tom was in the chat and he did say something along the lines of, she says this kind of shit all the time, and it's like, well, then I can understand why you'd want her to shut the fuck up.
That's what it is. I scheduled a Live It show during the High Council because I could not deal with sitting in here having to bite my tongue constantly because I knew I'm hearing Tom say things that are dead-ass wrong. I'm hearing Tom say things that are fucking stupid. And I would like very badly to correct him, but I know that he does not respect me enough to allow that to happen because I've tried before. And when I try before, what happens is he will not let it go, and I just have to eventually stop talking. And
well, again, could we get some specific instances of what he has said that you believe is wrong or you believe is stupid? You're just saying that as a general statement. It's like, well, people are wrong all the time, Jesse. Like, you're certainly wrong all the time. So am I. So's Tom. So's everybody. Everybody gets things wrong. And everybody says something that somebody else will consider stupid, whether it really is or not. You've said all kinds of shit that I consider stupid. Does that make it an objective fact that they are stupid? Not necessarily, I think probably some of it is objectively stupid, but like, not necessarily everything. I was like, she's going to say some things that other people will be like, nah, that wasn't stupid, that was fine. It's like, okay, whatever. Now I know why Mary is known for drinking on Toxic Femme. Now that makes me wonder, does she drink and get emotional and that's part of the reason why she goes? It's like, wait, you never know when it comes to that sort of thing. It's like, which came first? It's chicken or egg sort of deal. It's like, which came first, the drinking or the so-called abuse? It's like, did she drink because she was felt like she was being abused, or did she start drinking and then in an overly emotional, intoxicated state feel like she was being abused? Mecca, I had no intention of Anna being involved. She's not! She's not fucking involved. Nobody involved her in it. Tom merely referenced her. That's all he did. It was the rest of you who decided, oh, look, he's bullying Anna. He's attacking Anna. He's dragging her into it. No, he wasn't. He wasn't doing any of that. It was fucking Anna deciding that, I got dragged into it. No, you didn't. You didn't. Like, it's got nothing to do with you. You and your activities were merely referenced by Tom. I'm so sorry that that's upsetting to you. I just couldn't let him bully her in front of everyone. He wasn't bullying her. My God. See, this is the whole issue that I take with all of this crap, is the absolute, I would say disingenuous, but I don't think it's really that they're maliciously lying. I think because they're so overly fucking emotional and shit, they just don't understand reality. Like, they really believe, at least I'm pretty sure, hey, if you think different, let me know, but I think that they really believe this horse shit. And of course, that's the thing about, again, this is something I've encountered in real life, where people lie to themselves about things. They tell themselves a lie, and before you know it, they believe it. They believe that, oh, well, they what is the word? Impute? Is that a word? I don't know. Anyway, they decide that somebody else has a certain motivation for something they're doing, which, usually it's an activity they don't like or whatever, but it's like, but they decide, oh, well, he's doing that because insert reason here. And they don't know. Like, they don't have any fucking clue what the motivation is. And a lot of times the other person doesn't even fucking, know that they're pissing them off. But they decide, you're pissing me off by doing this thing, and I decided that you're doing it because you hate me. And that they just stew in that, he hates me, he hates me, he hates me, he hates me, that's why he's doing this, and then they explode eventually, and it's like, but that's almost certainly not true. It's like, the poor dude they decided this about had no fucking clue they were even mad at him. It's like, I've seen it more than once. I've seen this happen. Anyway, like I said, not bullying her, not bullying Anna. It's utter bullshit. It had nothing to do. He was just referencing her, and all he was saying was, let's deny the little pissant SJWs oxygen when they do things like redo that famous Spider-Man cover or whatever, when they quote unquote fix it. It's like all he was saying basically is, hey, when they do that, let's just not talk about it anymore. Let's just deny them oxygen and let the story die. Which is a reasonable position to have. But, no, that gets turned, because he mentioned Anna, they, as part of the supporting argument for why he was suggesting a course of action, they're all like, he's attacking Anna! No, he wasn't.
And let him have his way, and then let people just carry on believing he's right, and I'm not okay with that, so instead I just bite my tongue and not get involved in the first place. It was very difficult.
But again, right about what? I mean, he could be right. I know your judgment is faulty, Jesse, so I'm not simply going to take you at your word that he's wrong about something. I would have to know what specifically you're talking about, and I would have to go and try to find evidence to support or not whatever it is. He could be saying something that would seem so completely ridiculous on the face of it that I'd agree with you, but I don't know. And I'm not prepared to be like, oh yeah, I'm not gonna just fucking agree with you like the rest of these women apparently are.
Listening to them say stupid shit over and over again and having to do that. So I just took myself out of the room, and I'm not alone. I've seen people in the chat. I've seen people on Twitter say things like, I don't watch the High Council anymore because of Tom.
Well, I like I said, I never watched the High Council like regularly anyway. I can't remember, was it regular back when it was Ethan and Jeff and Jeremy, did they have a regular schedule? Because it always seemed to me, I don't know, maybe it's before I had a YouTube account or something, and therefore I wasn't subscribed, didn't get alerts or something, but it just always seemed like very random times when I would, look on YouTube and see that, oh, the High Council's on. It's like, it seemed very random, very, like, I couldn't, didn't seem like it was always happening on the same day, and certainly not on the at the same time or whatever, each week or something. I don't know. I could be mistaken. Maybe it happened like clockwork, and it just seemed that way to me. But anyway, but I never watched it regularly even then. But one reason why I definitely, stopped basically paying any attention to it whatsoever is because, Ethan left. It's like he was really kind of the anchor for that show. I mean, I guess in many respects Jeff is, because he's the only one that's still there, that's been there all along. But Ethan was the funny one. It was like he was the one that was actually the big draw to me to be there to listen, because he was the one who would come up with random entertaining shit, and I was like, he's not entertaining enough. I'm sorry, but he's not. And then had they already, or was it right after that they brought on Mecca to be on that, and it's like, she's not really that entertaining either. So and in all fairness, it's like Tom doesn't improve things. I don't have anything against the guy particularly, but it's like he's not super entertaining either. It's like none of these people are even in the same league with Ethan when it comes to being able to do an entertaining live stream. So it's not worth watching. So I don't know.
I've talked with Mary about all these instances from the start, from being a part of toxic femme and stuff, and she has had a lot of tolerance level. And there's a point in time I'm like, okay, darling, this is abuse. You're going through abuse.
Tolerance for alcohol.
And stuff, but she always wanted to give the chance, for the sake of the women on the show, for the sake of the show, for the sake of just humanity, I guess you can say. She has a big
for the
heart.
sake
She
of
wants to
humanity?
come to
What the
conclusion
fuck does that even mean?
Go on smoothly and stuff. And so yeah, she has put up with it a lot, and it's like breaking my heart right now just to even hear her talk again and again and again about this. And I am, in a way, I'm finding peace now that we're coming to a conclusion that there is she is getting a chance to speak her piece, getting a chance to let it all out, and
speak her truth. You mean?
away.
Yeah.
Well, for those of you who have questioned, well, why would you keep going back? Why would you? If it was so bad, why would you keep going back? Why would you keep putting? If you're any kind of woman who respects your.
Yes, for the love of God, please give us an explanation. I'm sure she's not going to. I'm sure it's going to be utter bullshit. But here we go. Let's hear.
If this is really happening to you, why would you keep returning? If this is really this kind of crazy issue, I want you to ask yourself what you would do about something that you poured your blood and sweat and tears into, something that was your baby, something that you were so proud of, because
Okay, so the the bullshit explanation that she's offering us here is going to be her show or whatever that was on somebody else's channel. I put blood and sweat and tears into it. You know, I crafted it with my own hands. It's mine. It's my baby. And it's like, Mary, I'm assuming you don't have any children, because I don't think you'd talk about a goddamn show as though it was your child if you actually had real children. If this was a live stream, I would ask for an F in the chat for her eggs, or something. Oh my god. Another one of these simps or whatever in the chat, I think. I believe Jeremy has to put things straight for Friday Night Tights. Straight about what? Since it is shared production with Nerdrotic. Is it? Is it a shared production? As far as I knew, Jeremy was simply a guest. Because Friday Night Tights only happens on Gary's channel. It does not ever happen anyplace else. And we will see if Gary is compromised. In what way? What are you talking about? Are you trying to say that Jeremy should talk to Gary and say, hey, throw Tom off of Friday Night Tights, because he's no good piece of shit? Well, that would presuppose that Jeremy believes that. And yeah, perhaps even Jeremy's not crazy enough to believe that. Maybe he's not compromised enough with all the SJWs that he has working for him yet. And it would also presuppose that Gary would be willing to do that, willing to take orders from Jeremy, which I suspect Gary's not. As far as I know, Tom continued to be on the High Council. I don't see any... I could feel the tension in your voice dealing with Tom on the High Council. So what? Oh, this is definitely abuse? No. I just want to know if he comprehends any part. I want to know if, any of these women or any of their simps comprehend, that most of the shit that they're bitching about, at least that I've been able to, like I said, ascertain, been able to find any evidence of or whatever, looks entirely like they're overreacting. Doesn't look like it's legitimately something that I would consider abuse. Like if I were in their place and he, and he was doing what little I've actually seen, like I said, I don't watch these fucking, I don't watch all these fucking streams that you're talking about, so I don't know for sure. But and obviously, anything that happened behind the scenes, don't know about that. But it all really kind of sounds like something that, if it had been me in their place, then one of two things would have happened. Either I would have felt like, yes, he really is being an abusive dick, and I would have walked. I would have been like, okay, you're an asshole, Tom. Fuck off. And I would be gone, just like that. Or I wouldn't have had a problem with it. And, it would have been fine. I don't,
You felt like it mattered.
Ah,
you were
hellfire.
doing something special.
Mm-hmm.
And for it to be constantly threatened.
Fucking hate.
And you do what you...
Bullshit
you would try.
calls.
You would try to protect it. You would try to nourish it. You'd try to look past it. And you'd make excuses.
Unknown
for
number.
why it could be
Fuck
this way
off.
or that way. And you try to make amends. And you try to come back to the table and discuss.
Yeah.
And I did try to do that. And I'll be honest. I knew somewhere around maybe 6 months ago now, maybe that or so, that it wasn't going to work. And I won't lie. I've been a coward.
Some people have pointed out that when somebody says, I'll be honest and I won't lie and things like that, they're kind of telegraphing that most of the time they actually do lie. While I'm tempted to believe that in her case, I also want to say that it's not necessarily true because, of course, it's kind of just common. It's a common phrase that everybody uses. Like, there's a somebody that I know that, prefaces just about every statement he makes with, I'll be honest with you. And it's like, well, I would hope so. But like I said, he says it every time. So it's like, okay. Does that mean that the times that you forget to say that, you're lying to me? I don't think so. I think it's just, like Like the way that I just keep on saying, like most of the time I say, listen to my, I see, I just did it. I don't even notice most of the time that I'm saying that. It's just something that happens. It's just something, this is what is it called? Verbal tics or whatever. It's just one of those peculiarities of human speech. Mecca, from what Tom says, Gary is the ringleader orchestrating who Tom cancels and bullies. Now, with regards to that, I would say that, just especially coming from fucking Mecca, that doesn't sound likely. Now, does it? Does anybody believe her? I don't. Not really. But at the same time, whether it's true, which it could be, admittedly, we've discussed this also. It's been discussed on the farms, and I made mention of it, about how, Gary is an addict, and, as somebody on the farms pointed out, it's like manipulation is an addict stock and trade, and it's like it could be that if Tom said that he's actually telling the truth. Why would he tell Mecca though? But anyway, but it could be that Gary actually is, manipulating everybody behind the scenes. He doesn't strike me as much of a mastermind, but but at the same time, he doesn't have to be that brilliant to be a manipulator. But whether it's true or not, it does definitely sound like there's a lot of sentiment in that direction, shall we say. You on Mr. H's stream, you had Jeff and Jesse both
Mm-hmm.
were there at one point, I think, and they both kind of talk like, somebody was telling them that, hey, don't do a video on that. And apparently whoever it was somebody that they felt had enough influence that they needed to not actually do the video on. They weren't happy about it or whatever. It's like, I'm getting the sense that there's a lot of rumblings behind the scenes that Gary is trying to control everybody, and people are getting sick of it, and they're getting ready to rebel against him, which will be very interesting. Like I said, I wouldn't necessarily have believed it, but it doesn't matter whether it's true. It doesn't matter whether any of us believe it. It matters whether or not the people involved, like Jesse and Jeff and whoever else, it matters what they think. It matters what they believe, whether it has anything to do with reality or not. So if enough people associated with Gary decide that he's being an ass and they're all gonna, break away from him or whatever, then, I don't even know how many of these people still consider themselves, quote unquote, the Fandom Menace or not. But, but the people that are in that general sphere could very well all kind of fracture and drift apart from one another if there's enough tension behind the scenes, and it's starting to sound like there is. I'm really expecting this drama is not done. Everybody's acting like, oh well, the whole Doomcock thing that's blown over already because everything's fine, and it's like, oh, Ryan apologized, everything's fine. It's like that's not the only stress point in the Fandom Menace sphere, though. It's not. It's like there's a lot of stress points. There's a lot of potential fractures. It's like the whole thing is like a fucking house of cards. It's ready to come down at any moment. And, maybe it won't. Maybe it won't. But maybe it will. And, we'll see. We'll see, won't we?
I've been a coward. I should have walked away.
Like how many of us have been in relationships that were dead? It's hard. Work relationships.
And how many of you were in relationships that you considered dead, and the other person did not know that the relationship was dead because you never told them any of your complaints? They didn't know that you were pissed, and as far as they were concerned, everything was more or less copacetic. And then it's like, oh, suddenly she's out, and it's like, whoa, what happened? You'd be, some people would be amazed at how many men are taken by surprise when their marriage suddenly ends. Just saying.
Life relationships, these kinds of things are hard and they're scary, especially when you stand to lose, especially when you have somebody who treats you this way, who treats you so vindictively as your supposed friend and colleague. How are they going to treat you when you're on the outs with them?
And the thing, and then you know what I mean by a big heart. You do have a big heart, Mary, and some.
Black Phoenix. Gary Turd Roddick. I never liked that guy. Wow. Mecca. Mary, same here. I stayed for years. I should have walked after Vegas. And I suppose you're going to give us more, horse shit about how, well, I'd put so much effort into it. What is that? It's like, is somebody, was it the farms or some place where somebody was talking about that recently? What is that referred to? It's like a fallacy or whatever. It's like the sunk cost fallacy or something. It's like you've already invested so much into it, you don't want to abandon the investment, even though that's the smart move. But for the this ridiculous idea that, well, if I just stay in, everything will pay off. It's like, no, it won't. Just leave. And I don't know, but the most generous, I guess, we can be with them and their motivations here is that they're just stupid.
Sometimes wearing the heart on the sleeve, and I've done this. I've maintained either relationship or been in a situation where it was toxic, and finally I had to have that breaking point. We all have that breaking point. We all have that tolerance. We all want to have hope that maybe this time around we can turn things around, and it'll be good from there and stuff. There's that little cycle, yes. And I think as human beings, we all been through this, and all we can do now is learn and grow and support each other from here on out. And that's the lesson in life, right? Is like learning from those mistakes and not returning back to the same mistakes. And sometimes it takes us a while to get out of that, to learn. And that's with every stage of life, and that's with every situation in life.
I want to make something clear.
Well, perhaps, but once you've experienced that, look, I mean, I know, like, there's a learning curve or something here, but it's like, once you've had an experience or two like that, shouldn't you have learned your lesson and figured out how to identify that, yeah, maybe this is something that, in future I should walk away sooner. I should not dick around and try to work it out or whatever. I should just identify that, okay, this is not going to work, and leave. The sooner the better. Shouldn't you have figured that shit out? I always thought toxic femininity, misspelled, was yours, Mary. It is yours. Well, but is it? It's not on her. Is it on her channel, or is it on Midnight's Edge? Because if it's on Midnight's Edge channel, then it's theirs, isn't it? To tell the truth, it was not the same when you were not there. Well, I'm guessing that means, yeah, it's not on. Anyway. We are with you, and obviously he means the simps are with her. Matt Deckard, from what I'm hearing, that's his MO. He is not having a come-to-Jesus moment. Well, if only people would have come-to-Jesus moments. They're quite good. I recommend against the come-to-Muhammad moments, because those usually end in terrorist attacks. An apology isn't going to make years of abuse right. Well, maybe not, but you're presupposing that he even realizes that it was abuse, or considered abuse. He has caused much psychological damage. Has he? And if he had no understanding that they considered that he was abusing them, how much can you really blame the guy? I mean, you can always say that, well, he should have known. It's like, well, maybe. But again, I don't know. It's like, I don't even know that he did abuse them. I need evidence. I need evidence. Nobody's offering me any. Nobody, none of these women are being like, hey, go to the stream on one such and such date or whatever, and or one entitled this or whatever, and and go to the 50-minute mark, and there he is, abusing me. It's all very generalized statements, so that you can't look anything up. So that
Guys, the women on Toxic Femme, they matter. They have
Is she
value,
driving?
okay? It's true that when Toxic Femme was taken away from me, that hurt.
Just as a side note, I don't think people should live stream and drive. You know, I don't know that it's as bad as texting and driving, but I still think it's really fucking dangerous, and people should not do that.
But that doesn't mean that the women there are less worthy. I love Lorena, and
I definitely empathize with you ladies. Recently got out of a toxic relationship. I'm still surprised I managed to walk away. It still hurts. Well, shit happens. What can I say? Andrew and I don't know who that is. This is Miss Sarcastic Nerd. Andrew and I have witnessed when he had hissy fits about wanting an extra song on karaoke or overstepping on shenanigans, whether it was just a bad joke or just trying to control the show. And then Tom is an abuser. Period. Again, that's I think that I don't think you can make such a definitive statement. You know, not unless you're privy to a lot more information than you probably are.
I love Mandy, and they are one of the reasons why it was so hard to make this choice. We did a stream together last night. It was something that I told Jesse. I was really grateful to you, by the way, about that, Jesse.
What the hell? Scryfer, $5. I am a guy who was rapped. Does he? Okay. I thought I knew what rape was about. I was wrong. What? Wait a minute. You said that you've been raped, and you're saying you thought you knew what it was about. And now you're saying you're wrong? Huh? Stand strong against abuse. I felt the darkness firsthand. Stay strong. I don't understand that statement at all. You saying that happened to you and you thought you knew what it was about, but you're wrong. Huh? I don't know. I don't know. I don't.
Jesse took a step back, and I told her if I'd known that this was going to happen this week, I'd gone on Toxic Femme on Monday for one last hurrah with my girls. And
I mean, I do hope that this super chatter is not trying to suggest that Tom supposedly, I don't, again, I haven't seen enough evidence to indicate that that's actually the case, but it could be. But Tom supposedly verbally abusing these women, yelling at them, talking over them, whatever. I really hope he's not suggesting that that's in any way the equivalent of somebody being raped. Because that's it's not, okay? It's not at fucking all. Don't even consider making such a comparison.
I called it handled, but that didn't happen. And so if it's okay, maybe Jesse, if you could not show up on Babe to Menace this week, I just want to spend one more day with my girls. And Jessie was really sweet. She was like, yeah, no, I don't want to drag anything into this. You go spend time with them. And we did. We had the best time. Because the truth is I don't know what's going to happen after this. I don't know what kind of barriers are going to be laid down between myself and them. And I don't know what kind of ultimatums will be given or not. I don't know.
Listen, just as a general note, for everybody, anybody who happens to listen, it's probably not necessarily the greatest idea to agree to do a show or whatever on YouTube on somebody else's channel, or at least not exclusively on theirs. If you want, maybe switch it back and forth between channels or create a separate channel that, people collaborate on or some shit. But just doing it on somebody else's channel, probably not the greatest move, just generally speaking. And if you are going to do that, if you're going to try to have some sort of arrangement like that, then you probably need to to have very well established guidelines, whatever. I mean, if you're not actually going to hammer out some sort of like genuine contractual agreement, then at the very least you should establish some basic, principles to go on, like, hey, don't, like Mary bitched about, the super chat, or, well, actually she only bitched about Tom, weirdly enough, but, the super chat about, about butt chugging or whatever, it's like, you should have a policy about that beforehand. It's like, hey, let's not read offensive super chats, or if we read them, let's just read them and we don't say any fucking thing else about it. We just drop it right there. It's like, okay, you know, we read that because it was a super chat, but that's gross and disgusting, you know. Please try to, you know, keep that kind of shit to a minimum on here. You know, or whatever. And again, it's like, if there's going to be any, you know, profit sharing or payments or whatever, it's like, probably you should have an actual legally binding agreement on that. At the very least, you should have a handshake deal that has very clear terms, and not be like her and be like, yeah, I'll be on your channel, I'm not asking for any money, but later on I'm going to bitch that you didn't give me enough. Like, I didn't ask for any, you gave me some, and I'm going to complain that, well, I wasn't being paid very much for being there, as much work as I put in. And it's like, then you should have fucking made an agreement beforehand of how much you wanted. You know? Anyway, but yeah, like I said, have things worked out ahead of time. Don't go into it blind and just fly by the seat of your pants the whole time, because sooner or later, one side or the other, or both, are going to be all pissy with each other over things that really just should have been agreed on to start with.
What I know is that I had a window of opportunity to spin one more stream that I knew for sure I could have.
You are survivors.
Brilliant women who are worthy, who are not Tom. And if you want to support them, and you want to know that they get that financial support, go to their channels. Because they are not just beautiful on the outside, although they certainly are. They are so smart and funny and engaging, and they offer these beautiful perspectives and viewpoints that are so unique and individual to their own. I will never forget the joke that Mandy told about why y'all scared of some jugs. I died laughing. Mandy is so funny, and Lorena is so sharp. They deserve you. Please differentiate that from what I'm saying. Don't blame Toxic Femme, the show, and don't blame the women. That's not why I'm here.
Right.
I love them. That's not an overstatement. I'm not being hyperbolic. I'm not, you know, being, oh, good. Oh my God, oh my God. No, I love these women. I love these women. And you will too. And I know you already do. So many of you already show up. So many of you show up and show support. And I would encourage you to show that support to them directly, because they deserve it. And they deserve to see that for themselves, and not have someone else take the spoils of their labor. Not completely, anyway.
Again, make a goddamn agreement beforehand. And like I said, if it's legally binding, you know, if you actually had a contract with Tom about how much he's got to pay you or some shit, or how much percentage of Super Chat revenue or something you've got to get, then if he didn't live up to it, you could take him to court. But as it stands, if you don't have any fucking agreement with him about it, and if you never even asked for any goddamn money, then you'd have no place complaining about how, oh, he didn't pay us enough. It's like, did you ask to be paid at all? No. Did he pay you? Oh, some. What are you bitching about? Jeez. Mecca, I should have put a stop to it earlier. I knew in my heart he'd be horrible to them, and I could have warned them. I am so sorry. I don't even know what to say about Mecca anymore. Crazy.
So that's to that point, by the way, and this is just also good for any place you go. When you see a group stream and you like the people who are on it,
Matt Mundane has an open slot for you.
Just because they are a regular part of a stream or another channel, that they are given any benefits for that they are treated the way they should, and that goes to the women of Toxic Femme and any other people who are part of, you know, big group streams. Make sure you support them individually, so that's the only way you know they're getting their fair shake.
No, you'd know that they were getting a fair shake if they had a goddamn agreement, the legally binding agreement. You know, why is it that they act like, oh, that's just off the table? We couldn't actually do things in a normal business manner. We want to complain about not getting paid money, but we don't want to do things in the way that you normally would do things in life in order to make sure that you're actually getting paid. Okay, whatever. Mecca, I knew he'd sow it, but I didn't want to believe it was anything other than me. I know I'm crappy. Better late than never, Mecca. Well, you know, I don't think she's serious about that, though. I don't think she's serious about in any way believing that she's crappy. She believes she's in the right on everything, you know, on all of this shit. So
I love to bring that back in, since I know we're way behind on your contribution.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I know you're gonna.
It's okay. I just want to make sure. make sure we get to everybody. Joseph Yanowich says, Mary, please let Jesse, Jeff, and Mecca know my background. I'm cool with it on the low, please. Lol. So after or later. I can't, yes. Jorge Burgos Jr., thank you for the super chats. As people find out what he's doing won't need lose viewers. I mean, again, as we said, that's going to be up to everybody individually. It's up to you guys to listen and make a decision. Xenomorph Skullhunter 79 says, I vote that Toxic Femininity should now be a part of Jesse's show. Who's with me? Not my choice to make, but I'm always open to having badass shows on this channel. I'd probably, I don't know, change the name. But I don't want to steal any, step on toes and steal any new stuff. Anyway, Calvin, sending love to you guys. Thank you, that Limey. I love you, and Calvin, the best. Dark Shadows, thank you for the super chat. Where is Andre in this? It's his channel, not Tom's.
I'm going to make one statement on that, and this is what I believe. I don't.
Mecca, Tom threatened that I would lose half my subscribers if I went public. But he doesn't have any control over your subscribers, does he? Why would you believe that just because he says it? That doesn't make sense. Pardon me. There's a super chat. I have unsubbed Midnight's Edge, as I do not want to watch someone who treats women like that. I have heard it too many times through my workplace, and enough is enough. And yet, there's some asshole up there. What is this third world country wages? Again, make a contract. Get a goddamn agreement beforehand. Don't try to, don't go and do something, essentially for free. I mean, Mary admitted she didn't ask for any payment. She didn't ask for any fucking money at all. And then Tom does give her some, and yeah, she's an ungrateful bitch because all she does is complain about how she should have gotten more. And it's like, well, you got 100% more than what you asked for, which was nothing. It's like, you got however much you got, and you asked for nothing. So that's, from Tom's perspective, that's probably him being very generous. And yeah, would be. I mean, if somebody was doing something for me, I mean, first of all, I don't think I'd. I don't think that I'd. I don't think that I. Well, I don't know. If they're actually a friend, like a real friend, which there's very few real friends in life, but a real friend would be willing to do something for you just as a favor and not expect any payment. Most people expect payment of some kind. So I don't think I'd expect somebody to do something for me without me paying them. But, if they didn't ask for any money, then if I gave them any, I would consider that, I was being generous, and if they acted like I was an asshole for not giving them enough when they hadn't asked for any, and it acted like they were just, just willing to do it for free, whatever it was, or they had fun doing it or something, that it's be like, okay, well, yeah, that you're pretty fucking ungrateful, and I wouldn't want to have anything further to do with that person. I don't know, but like I said, this is, he threatened that you'd lose half your audience. Well, that was most likely an empty threat. Although I'm wondering how many of this fucking simps for all these women has Tom and Midnight's Edge lost as viewers, or at least subscribers, whether they viewed or not, because of this bullshit.
I expect anybody to back me up on this because I don't expect there's a lot of people who had a discussion with Andre about this. But I think Tom is aware, or Andre has been aware of discontent and discord among Tom and I, mainly because it bears out in the upheaval of every few months, is Mary here or not? And so Andre is aware, but I don't know that I believe that Andre was aware to what extent. Now, does that mean that I haven't told Andre that Tom yells? Yes, I've told Andre Tom yells. I'm not sure Andre understands what it means when Tom yells. I don't know. I've tried to convey that I'm uncomfortable and that I feel it feels crazy. And I've said some things, like, for example, the sort of bullying tactic. Yesterday, it was in the group chat that Tom started in on Alora. Alora, I saw you liked a tweet. Again, this is very
Well, you know, maybe Tom does that with everybody. Maybe he yells at Andre, and Andre is not at all bothered by it, and so he's confused as to why you're making a big deal out of Tom raising his voice. It's like, yeah, he's like that, you know, so what?
problematic of what it is that Tom does. I saw you liked this tweet. Have you got anything to say to me? Is there anything? Are we okay? Now he doesn't do this in a private DM between himself and Laura. He just does it in a public DM in front of like 6 or 7 other girls, where there's a lot of outward pressure for her to pretend everything is fine. All right, rather than going to her. And did I express that to Andre? Yes, I went to Andre and I said, look, this is not cool. You shouldn't be putting Laura in that position. This isn't her fault. He doesn't need to be doing that to her. And he said, no, you're right. I agree. But it's not as if the awareness that this is the tactic Tom uses wasn't there prior to this particular instance of that very familiar tactic that Tom uses. Why? Because the last time that I left, I told Andre, I am well aware. I have screenshots of Tom now shit-talking me in the group chat, calling me crazy. Do you still have that screenshot, Laura, of what he was saying about me when I left? When I walked away? Again, keep in mind, I didn't say anything.
Mecca, I wasn't allowed to go to Andre. What, do you have no ability to contact him on your own? You know, is he such a recluse that you can't get hold of him? Alright, Midnight's Edge. 201k subscribers. Country, no? No? What? I don't know. Oh, Norway. Okay. Like, it's no, like no country. It's like, what, no country for old men? I don't know. Video views for the last 30 days. Down 520.8%. Shit. Estimated monthly earnings. Huh. All right. I don't look at this shit very often, so I don't. So I don't. What the hell am I looking at? Does that estimated earnings? There's a negative of between $761 and $12,200. What? I don't know. So, somebody may have to assist me with trying to understand that. Does this huge drop indicate that they deleted a bunch of videos? So is that what happened? They fucking deleted a bunch of their shit. Similar channels. This is what's considered similar channels. My God! All right, let's go back to the Edge After Dark. Video views for the last 30 days down 269.8%. D minus total grade. Wow. Okay. 18.7k subscribers. Damn. Uploads 19? There's only 19 videos on the whole thing? Is that what's going on? Well. Okay. Yeah, I would guess that is what's going on. Okay, I'm assuming that's what that means, that they deleted a bunch of videos. So probably they've purged all of the shit now, which means which probably means that April they gained 100 subscribers. May they gained none. Okay. Yeah. Okay, well, yeah, I'd say that they've cleaned house probably. So that probably means that all of the evidence is gone, if it was even there to start with. But of course, don't know. No one was, they've had a fucking month that they've been doing this, where apparently they could have clued everybody in on what the fuck was going on, but no, we prefer to just bitch and not point out not point out any specific shit.
In the group chat, I walked away. I was going to handle this privately between Tom and I. The first thing Tom did was get into a group chat and start talking shit about me.
Again, please provide evidence. Mecca, Tom did that to me in a private group DM between me, him, and 2 other YouTubers that are part of the tribunal. What tribunal? What the fuck are you talking about? Or is she talking about the 3 people that are on? I don't know.
In front of everyone, and I wasn't there to defend myself. I didn't get a voice in that moment, because that was it. I can prove Tom shit talks you in group DMs. And so I told Andre,
then
this needs to stop. You want to reconcile this relationship? Do you want me to come back? This kind of insidious behavior needs to end. It needs to stop.
The tribunal is now the Inquisition because Tom did this. No, Mecca. The Inquisition is Doomcock and Gary.
Yeah. Or I won't be back. And Andre acknowledged it. So why is it a month and a half, 2 months later, Tom is doing the exact same thing to Alora in front of all of these people in a group chat, calling her out? No, speak to her alone. If you truly believe in the method of privately handling things, then privately handle it.
And the thing is like, it's none of his business, no one's business really, on whose tweet I like and whatever. I may agree with the person's stance. I may just be doing it in support. It doesn't mean a damn thing, really.
Well, I will agree with that as a general principle. It doesn't make any sense for Tom or anybody else to be complaining about you liking tweets. I mean, there was that ridiculousness in CG. Wasn't that back when Liam was still doing all the drama streams on his channel, when when War Campaign was still a thing, and fucking John Malin was like flipping out on somebody because they liked a tweet that was against him or something. Like some guy was on there with John Malin. John Malin was like, "You liked it. You liked a tweet, that was and the guy was like, "I like a lot of tweets. What's your point?" And it's like, he kind of does have a point there, John. It's like, you're flipping out over nothing. What I mean, just Jesus, what utter asinine bullshit to be like, "Oh, you liked a tweet. So what?"
Other than I'm lending support to someone, or liking something because maybe I see something that I relate to, or whatever the circumstances. Like I said, I did not sign any contract saying how I should use my Twitter and social media being on Toxic Femme. So that was off the wall. That was absurd. I can understand he was in distress because, everything started going down since yesterday and truth started coming out, so I understand he was in distress. And it was your tweet, Jesse, that I liked. And I was like, you speak.
Oh, that's laughable, isn't it? Hargrave, $5. I like to hear both sides, and I see one side giving context in detail. Not as much context or detail as I would like, sir. slash proof. No, not even evidence, really. Certainly not proof. With 4 peeps. Now, the other side, I'm open to hear, where is it? Makes me wonder. Well, where it is probably Tom doing what probably a lot of people would advise him to do, which is just stay quiet and let it blow over. Because, it's obvious that the fix is in and no one was going to, listen to... I mean, you say you're going to listen to him, but honestly, it's like most of these people have already made up their mind. We're siding with the crying women over Tom. He's such a bastard, and so it's like, there's nothing he could say. There's nothing he could say. It's like the people who are going to side with the women over this bullshit are going to side with the women over this bullshit, regardless of anything that he says. And the people that aren't going to walk away from him, tell him he's a piece of shit, whatever, just because somebody accused him of something, those people are, if they're not going to do it, they're not going to do it. Again, it doesn't benefit him in any way, really, to say anything about it. So it's not surprising that he kept quiet.
Yourself. You do what you need to do for yourself.
Yeah,
right.
Well, as everybody knows, we've had how many times this is the canceling bullshit, right? How many times have we seen in a community somebody be canceled because they liked the wrong tweet? So now you have people put it in their bios. A like is not an endorsement.
Yeah,
it's not an endorsement of the statement. It is an appreciation of the person making a statement. It does not. It can mean a lot of things. It does not necessarily mean an endorsement of that statement. And everybody fucking knows that. The only types of people, in my experience, who treat a like as an endorsement and want to attack somebody over it are people who are into cancel culture.
Okay, so
and it's so freaking crazy.
Jesse is accusing John Malin of being part of cancel culture.
You can't go and read something and maybe like it or whatever without that cancel culture coming after you. It's
like I said, it is bullshit to do that, but still, I think it's going over the line to be like, cancel culture. It's like, no, just overly sensitive.
It's like people freaking go up. There's a life outside of this. Yes, we come in to visit with each other. We come in just because it's fun. Whatever your take is with social media.
Although, like I said, I will point out that Tom's behavior there, if what they're describing is more or less accurate, you have to admit it's not unlike. I mean, you can call it cancel culture, but it's really just it's a sort of a corporate mindset, because that's what it sounds like. It sounds like he's being the business guy, the guy who's like, you need to toe the company line, and oh look, you like to tweet, and that's bad for our company image, and and you're associated with our company, so please don't do that. But he sounds like, I mean, it's like I said, it's bullshit when companies do that to their employees or whatever. And they're like, hey, don't be liking tweets from this person, or don't be liking tweets that say this and that or whatever. You need to, like I said, all along they're like, you need to let us control your social media, basically. Let us have a degree of control over your interactions and shit. It's like corporations do that. Like that's how they roll. And Tom is rolling in that same kind of way, a bullshit corporate culture, but it's still, it's par for the course, though. You shouldn't be super surprised, that people are that way. I mean, like I said, call it out for bullshit, that's fine, but to act like, oh, he's some psycho because he's doing this, or because, or oh, he's part of cancel culture. It's like, no, he's just sort of, a corporate douche, I guess. It's like, that's probably the most accurate mean thing you can say about him, based on the actual evidence insofar as we have it.
To run our channels and share our channels and and talk with like-minded people, but the thing is, it's like, it's not life. It's not real life. People, get over yourself when it comes to that. When it comes to cancel culture and stuff.
Okay, and now a joke about suicide, I guess. Dr. Coffin Nails. Well, I've got a date with a warm bath and a cold razor. Good night. Yeah, good night, and I'm sure that someone from HR will be around to talk to you about your terrible, terrible suicide joke.
And getting pissed off about liking someone's tweet or retweeting.
Because in case anybody doesn't remember, he's the dipshit that suggested that YouTube channels need HR departments.
Whatever. So fucking what?
Exactly.
I want to make something clear, because I'm already getting DMs and messages from people who are like, oh, you're no saint either. I never claimed to be a perfect person. What I have always tried to do is be a sincere person. I like to believe that I've left an air open where if I'll
talk sincere bullshit.
Okay, something I've tried to do. I won't say his name because he hasn't given me permission to, but I will just tell you, without saying who it is, that there was a moment on a stream a few weeks ago where we made a joke, and it was at someone's expense. That tends to be the air in Mario Kart streams. If you've ever been on them, you'll know what I mean. But
oh my god,
we made a joke at his expense, and I truly thought in the moment that it was fine because it didn't seem so far from other moments. But he messaged me and he told me that it hurt him, and then he would appreciate it if I took it down and not do that to him again. And I said, okay, I'm sorry. And he expressed to me that he thanked me. He actually thanked me for not treating him like shit. And I told him that was...
If anybody has any fucking clue who she's talking about or what it is that she supposedly said that they apparently had a problem with, please let me know. Please, somebody, if you have any idea, let me fucking know.
Entirely unnecessary. The idea that someone owed me a thank you for crossing a line, a boundary of personal respect and dignity.
Yeah, and I think that the Patrick McNeil in the chat, he is wrong. The end. It's like, yeah, I think that essentially sums up everybody's opinion here. Just about is, he's wrong. The end, and therefore it's like, okay, well, then how can you possibly blame the man for just staying silent? Because you've already all fucking made up your goddamn minds. Not a single one of you is legitimately going to be interested in what the man has to say. So, he might as well not say it.
And I told him, just don't do that. Don't thank me for that. That's called human decency. That's common decency. When someone comes to you and tells you, you've made me feel like a lesser person because of this thing, and I would appreciate it if you didn't do that again. You don't semantic your way out of that.
I'm trying to think of any insult that somebody could hurl at me that would make me feel like a lesser person. Most of the things that might be, that might make me feel like I'd genuinely been insulted or whatever, like you're being really rude to me, would be, I don't know, something like, you say something mildly critical of Jeremy and he says something about how he fucked your mom last night or something. It's like, okay, that's like really over the line, dude. What the fuck? But it's not going to make me feel like I'm a lesser person. It's going to make me feel like he's a lesser person. So it's like, I'm trying to think. It's like, is there anything somebody could say to me? It's like, it's like, no. I mean, I've been insulted many times, but I don't think any of those insults or anything, jokes made at my expense, have ever made me feel like a lesser person. So I don't know. I can't picture that somehow. I don't know.
When someone tells you that the butt-chugging thing went too far, you don't semantic your way out of it and turn the person who came to you in good faith into a villain for asking you not to do that.
Well, should have known that that's where we were going with this. And like I said, it's like, I don't think that was at all an appropriate thing for Tom to, to try to continue the joke about. As a matter of fact, not only that, if I were in his place and something like that came up, I don't know that I'd even read the damn thing. It's like, I'd probably be like, I can't say that to her. It's like, you perv. Well, don't be sending super chats like that. Thank you for the money, and not read the fucking thing, or else say, or else preface reading it with saying, I'm just gonna read it because it's a super chat. It's like, I feel like I'm obligated to read it, so here it goes, or ask, maybe ask Barry to leave the stream. Barry, could you pop off the stream for a minute? Okay, it's like, you can come back now. It's done. I don't know. Like I said, I would have handled it differently than apparently he did. But even so, it's like, it's still, I mean, I got a feeling that the way she handled it backstage, maybe the context or whatever, was probably the reason why he got pissy about it, if indeed he did. I don't know.
You all know what it is. You've experienced those moments. You know those moments where you're engaging with someone and there's something between the lines and there's a heaviness to the voice and a weight to certain words that warn you of what you ought not do if you don't want the ramifications. It is insidious and it weighs on you. And so
well, it's possible that, like a number, fucking hell. Time to take my pills. Time to take my blood pressure pill. Anyway, probably a good time for it too. Is getting upset over this bullshit. Fuck, I'm almost out. But anyway, the thing is, I don't know, but I can't help but think that there's a very real possibility that Tom was blissfully unaware that he was upsetting her. You know, I mean, she acts like you're supposed to be able to tell so easily that somebody's getting upset about something, and it's like, but some people are just not able to read situations as well as that, you know. So, and Tom may be one of those people. So, I don't know. You know, I mean, like I said, we've heard from Rosetta or whatever about how she's known Tom for, you know, a year or over a year or however long, and you know, she does not consider that the way that he's behaved with her anytime that, you know, doesn't fit with what she's hearing from the other women. So,
Step carefully, because you fear that you will be ousted and ostracized from the people you care for and the community that you hold dear. When did it become unreasonable to go to the person who made you feel some kind of way and say, hey, that sucked, can you not do that again? And then not swallow it for 2 fucking seconds and go, oh shit, my bad. Let's not do that again. That's not hard. It certainly shouldn't be. The problem is not making a mistake. The problem is not stepping on someone accidentally, because we will all hurt someone's feelings at some point in their life. The problem is when you break down in the ability to have honest, sincere communication. I'm no angel, but I don't want to hurt anyone just so I can gain another level up.
Mecca, Tom will never apologize. Well, he's already apologized, though. See, that's the thing. She says Tom will never apologize, and I don't know, is she saying he'll never apologize to Mary? Because, admittedly, he's not here in the chat apologizing to Mary. However, he was in the stream the day before this, on May the 12th. This is May the 13th. May the 12th, he was in the chat on the stream, the Matriarchy stream, apologizing to Jesse and Anna, and I don't think he was apologizing to Mecca at that point, was he? Or was he? I can't remember. You know, he may have or may have not, but it's like I don't know. But anyway, it's like he's apologized quite a bit. He was apologizing to Mecca, wasn't he? I don't know. But anyway, it's like, but you know, it's like it didn't do any good, did it? You know, it didn't do any good for him to apologize, because obviously Jesse didn't give a shit about him apologizing. You know, Anna, I guess, from the sound of it, didn't necessarily give that much of a shit about him apologizing. Mecca certainly didn't, you know, fucking care. Presumably Mary wouldn't either. So it's like, you know, it's a waste of his time and effort to apologize to any of these women, because they've already decided to hate his ass. So
I don't need an apology. I need
I don't need an apology. Well, she doesn't even want one. Okay.
personal dignity and respect. I don't need semantics to validate the decision you made in a moment that treated me like shit. I needed to go, fuck, my bad. It won't happen again. Because that's what a person does when they hurt someone. Someone you say is your friend. This isn't a random on the street. This isn't some chick who came to order a McChicken at McDonald's. You were my friend. And you told me I mattered. And I told you you hurt me. And you said, suck it up. And I said, I just want to make sure it doesn't happen again.
Well, you know, I have to admit, it's not that unreasonable position to have, to tell somebody to suck it up if you think, like you legitimately believe, which Tom might have, that, okay, you know, this bitch is being overly emotional, like she's flipping out on me for no goddamn reason, or, you know, or over something that does not warrant this kind of reaction from her. And so it, you know, it's like you tell her to suck it up or whatever, and it's like, you know, it might be the wrong thing to say, but it's kind of understandable why you might say that. I'm just saying. Stephen, some bunch of bullshit. Damn you, Tom. I thought you were a better man than this. Should be than. But you did the very thing I cannot let stand, and that is the betrayal of friendship. Oh, God. Those are ridiculous people.
And he was more interested in making excuses and making me feel like the bad guy.
Yeah.
Well, he must have felt like you were attacking him. Why don't we consider Tom's feelings? Why don't we consider that maybe he's a whiny bitch just like you, except, you know, that's not allowed, is it? It's not allowed for the man to be the whiny bitch who's, you know, who gets overly emotional about things and takes things too personally. You know, it's like that Maybe that's why. It's like if he actually is doing this shit the way that they're talking about, maybe that's why, because he's just like them. He's so hurt. You know, he immediately put on the defensive because these bitches are attacking him. So it's, you know, maybe a case of everybody is just overly emotional about goddamn nothing. And then got the simp with the weird name. Men like Tom are mean to those who they can, and especially, should be especially, women, and more with strong women. To then be funny and calm with the guys. Fakers. Hey, if Tom is not guilty to hear that, huh? I don't know what thing can shake up. What?
I tried. Why can't we come
Thought
back?
that
Why
person
can't we
was
just talk to
speaking
each
English
other?
earlier,
Just
but that
human
sounds more like
beings.
broken English.
The thing that baffles me in all of this is hearing Tom consistently, publicly and privately say, I had no idea. If that is true, that is no excuse. What kind of monster doesn't realize that the things he has done were not acceptable? That
A man, Jesse. A man. Trust me, many men are completely and totally fucking ignorant that they have pissed off a woman. Because the women don't tend, you know, they get pissed off at things that the men, you know, the men folk don't get pissed off at. So we're not thinking necessarily in that regard like, oh, that would piss me off. It's like, you know, a lot of times guys would be like, nah, that wouldn't piss me off. And so they don't even think that you were pissed off. And they especially don't think it when you don't let on. Because that's a womanly thing to do. You don't let on. A lot of times you take, you know, offense at something and then you're quiet about it and you stew in your own, you know, misery, whatever, about how you've been wronged and the dude didn't even know that he wronged you. And then he does it again, and at some point you probably convince yourself that he's doing it on purpose. He's trying to hurt me, you know, and then eventually you fucking blow up at him. And he is taken completely by surprise because he had no fucking clue. He legitimately had no idea. Now, I'm not saying that that's what happened with Tom, but I am saying that that's what happens with men all too often. They are clueless. It does take them by surprise when their woman suddenly blows the fuck up at them. And, you know, usually, yes, it is a romantic relationship where this happens, in my experience, but not always. Not always. Sometimes it's just coworkers or whatever, but it happens. You say, oh, you have to be a monster to not understand. It's like, no, you don't have to be a monster. You know, not everybody who disagrees with you, not everybody who doesn't understand things and view them the way that you do automatically has to be evil or something. That's not how this works.
screaming at somebody full volume for having a difference of opinion, or in some cases for simply meekly asserting that they would like to be treated with basic human fucking decency. In what universe do...
Again, give me some clips, give me some evidence. You've waited so long now that probably they're all been deleted. Tom sounds bipolar. Could be. You don't know. But the like I said, as you know, you're not offering me a link or a clip or anything. You're not offering me any evidence of him actually doing X. You're just saying he did X a lot, and it's like, okay, but show it to me so I can judge for myself. Do I believe that he was wrong to do so, or and the fact that you're not, it keeps him making me think, well, maybe he was wrong, but then again, maybe he wasn't, because you keep on saying things like, oh, he attacked Anna, and it's like, no, he didn't. I saw what you're claiming as an attack on Anna, so I know that your take on that is wrong. You're full of shit when you say that. You're absolutely incorrect. It's like, I know that your judgment doesn't, is not good on that point, so it makes me suspicious of your judgment on everything else, especially in the absence of evidence, and you're fucking not giving me any evidence.
Do you think that is fine? And I don't know if you ever got, oh, I'm sorry, I overreacted or anything like that, but it blows my mind how people seem to think that they can do whatever they want if they turn around and go, oh, I'm really sorry. and that's fine. They can do it all the fuck over again the next day and go, oh, I'm really sorry. And every time they go, oh, I'm really sorry, it's like it erases it. It's like it never had an effect on you. It's like it never fucking happened. That's not how life works. That's not how reality works. And when you're an adult, when you're a child, yes, maybe you need adult parents to correct your behavior and to tell you what's right and what's wrong. When you're a grown-ass fucking adult, you should not need people telling you to your face every 5 seconds, hey, you're fucking up. Hey, you're making a misstep. You're disrespecting me. You're being shitty to me. You have this many people out here complaining about the way you have treated them. That should be a goddamn indication to you that you have been doing this for a long time to a lot of people and that you missed a lot of cues along the way. And it's not our job to wake you up to the fact that you were being a shithead to people. We did what we had to do. We tried to tell you. We tried to talk to you. When you steamrolled us and refused to listen and bullied us, we did what we had to do to protect ourselves or get away from you.
I'd like to address something if that's okay.
Except it doesn't sound like you did. Like, it sounds like you're claiming that he steamrolled you or whatever, and then you're acting like, oh no, it's just like, we just let it go and kept on taking the abuse, over and over and over again, and then, oh my god, Patrick McNeil says Jeremy seems nice. Are you fucking kidding me? Oh my god, really? Jeremy seems nice? He's a total dick. I think he usually even admits that. But anyway, like I said, it's just he's saying that we did what we had to do, and it's like, no, you didn't. You kept on staying in that situation, and of course, like I said, we already know why they did, but they act like, it was not their choice, and it's like, it's totally your choice. It was totally your fucking choice. Zephyr Jones. The thing that pisses me off is these are the type of woman that will accept an apology, but this dude is too stubborn to apologize. Where were you just now? Like, they more or less just said that an apology is not enough. It's not acceptable. Don't ever apologize to your haters, but always apologize to friends. Well, I think at this point, Tom should be aware that these women are not, and possibly never were, his friends. Like, they're definitely acting like the enemy, so I don't think it'd be wise for him to bother apologizing. And again, he's already fucking apologized. He's apologized, on the day before this, he had apologized numerous times in the chat, apologizing to everybody, and it didn't do any good. Like, they didn't fucking care. So.
Okay, yeah, because it got deleted in the chat, but it's not invalid. I understand why it got deleted, but I want to be. There's a certain amount of honesty when you're saying we're being honest here, right? Like, it's about what the truth is, and sometimes you talk about things that are hard. Elsie says, "Oh my God, shut up, be grown."
And there's the dickhead there again with, I just unfollow Tom and Mead, so be it, Tom. Who are you talking to? Like, Tom's not here. Who are you talking to? Mecca, I cried for 2 hours and wanted to delete my channel after a 2-hour struggle session after a Mead stream once. Somehow I doubt that it was anything like a struggle session. So, once again, we're referencing things that happened in real life to people that were really horrible, and acting like our pathetic little YouTube drama somehow rises to that level. It doesn't, people. How dare any of you fucking criticize, Gina Carano for making a kind of legit comparison. I mean, she wasn't actually comparing what's happening in America today to the Holocaust. She was comparing it to the lead-up to the years before that, when the groundwork was laid for the possibility of that shit happening. And she has a point, but you fuckers are like, no, she did something terrible, and then you turn around and you fucking are like, some guy that I stream with, berating me about, in all honesty, it's Mecca, so probably berating her about not saying defamatory things about famous people. For 2 hours or whatever she says there, is the equivalent of being, brutalized and brainwashed and whatnot by communists or something. And it's like, no, it's not. It's fucking not. Shut up, you silly bitch.
Go drink some wine and get over it. 90% of the time I would look at you and I'd say, you're fucking right. These people need to grow a set of balls. I tried. I want you to know that everything you just grow a set. I did that. I actually did that. I actually did that quite a few times.
I witnessed you.
I'm sorry. So she's admitted that, people just need to toughen up is her attitude on a lot of things, and then goes right to, I tried, but I couldn't, and so I was just a weak-ass bitch. It's like, well, that's not on everybody else then, is it?
who, trying to work through it and stuff. I was there, people. I've talked to her numerous times about some of these situations on trying to resolve and, having hope, and stuff. So she tried.
And look, it's one.
I mean, look, I'm not guessing that anybody who's going to be watching my video has ever actually had personal interactions with Tom. But if anybody has, by all means, please, let me know in the comments. What was that interaction like? It's like, if you've actually talked to Tom, is he a piece of shit? It's like, is it just impossible to have a civil conversation with a man? I was in the chat on one of Rosetta's streams where Tom was there playing music. He seemed perfectly nice to me. I didn't see any, I didn't see anything from him to indicate that he's a piece of shit. I don't know. Like I said, not super familiar with the guy, but what I've seen does not lead me to believe that he's some kind of monster or anything like they're describing. Could be, but don't know.
The thing, you can eventually up with some rando says some shit like, "Oh, you're a fucking piece of you look like a tranny." That's funny, right? Like, I don't know, dude. You want to say? I've had so many people tell me I have a huge ass nose that it makes me look like a tranny, and I, you know what I do? I suck it up, have a glass of wine, and move the fuck on because.
Well, I hadn't considered it, but I suppose there is something slightly mannish about her face. A little bit there, yeah. I think the crazy eyes are are more of a problem.
That person isn't supposed to be interwoven into my life. It's not a betrayal of trust.
But here's the fucking God. Why do I keep losing my train of thought right when I'm about to say something? I'm like, I'm in there, and then it's not your fault. It's my fault. I'm like, wait, I'm too invested and tired. Really, it's that I'm too tired.
Who the fuck is this super simp in the fucking chat? I watched this happen to RMB. What's RMB? I feel like I should know what that stands for, but I don't. Oh, Robert Meyer Burnett. I'm betting. Yeah, I watched this happen to Robert Meyer Burnett, which I don't like Robert Meyer Burnett, by the way. He had Trump derangement syndrome, something fierce. He's an asshole. Fuck him. And so many others. I will not let this stand, never ever. Love how this dipshit acts like he's, some kind of power or something, and it's like, dude, you're just some rando in the fucking chat. What the hell? Mary, misspelled. I really think you're going to have more success outside that organization. Well, quite possibly. I'm sure she's gaining lots of clicks and whatnot from all this drama. You have the ability to outgrow them, maybe. Things happen for a reason. Well, wouldn't. Yes, but I don't think it's quite what you're implying there.
Fuck. I'm so sorry. I was like, I have a great point. I'm going to jump in right now.
Let's go. And then out the door goes.
Exactly. God damn it. Fuck Tom. That's the point. What is fuck Tom?
Well, on the one hand, I will sympathize a little bit with empathize even with Jesse on that point of having something to say and then forgetting it. That happens all the time. More and more as I get older, but that's just the way it goes. But then immediately it goes right into the point is fuck Tom. It's like, yes, I think that is. I think that is precisely the point. I think that's the whole point of all of this shit is y'all just want to say fuck Tom. So
that's all. Oh no, that was my point. My point is that if your coping method is always going to be drink some wine and get over it, and you don't do anything to disentangle yourself from the people who you require coping methods for, you will eventually just drink yourself to death.
Yeah, exactly.
What?
Oh, trust me, I drank last night.
I imagine you did.
I had myself about 7 shots of vodka and 4 wine coolers. But that was in the company of some beautiful, amazing women, right? Like, look, I'm not averse to a great time of let's everybody know. And if you know me for 2 seconds, like literally this, when you talk to me, the colors are usually pastel, vibrant, right? Like just like pastel, that's an oxymoron. Pastel, pretty, girly colors, and I'm happy to look and I'm smiling. And the joke is like, like I have a good time and I'm a lighthearted human being.
Okay, she's an alcoholic, I guess. Tuck Fom. Tom is insecure in years of it, made him toxic inside. Oh God, more of the SJW buzzword talk. So them, he got some power in, built up this image that pretends the super insecure Tom does not exist, but it does, and lashes out at women. Maybe. People can say all they want to about Mary about her looks. One thing is none of them have Mary's awesome hair. I have awesome enough hair, thank you. Of course, I'm a dude. It'd look kind of weird if it was as big as hers. If it was that puffy or whatever. That volume. That's what it's called. Volume. I don't give a fuck personally, I'll tell you that. Whatever. Just got out of an abusive, toxic relationship. It's unreal how far you are able to put up with... someone you thought cared back. Never blame yourselves for not speaking up. Tom needs to apologize. He's already done that, and it didn't do any good. What the fuck? It's not the same thing as apologizing to the mob. He didn't apologize to the mob. He apologized to these bitches, or at least some of them, and they didn't accept it, apparently. Apologizing to the friends you did wrong builds character. I don't know. I remember blowing up at a friend and coworker at work because he wasn't doing his fucking job. He was specifically doing something that he wasn't supposed to be doing. Not just not doing. I mean, I'd previously watched him not do one part of the job consistently for a whole fucking week. Never did it. And then I confronted him, and he insisted that, no, I've been doing that every day. And I'm like, no, you haven't. I've watched you every goddamn day. You didn't do it, not once. But he wouldn't believe me. So it's like, okay, you're insane. And then caught him doing something he, had been told previously not to do, and of course, I guess the standards have fallen down now because I do that too these days. But anyway, I blew up at him, and that got him to fix the problem immediately. But then later, I felt like, it's like I was really kind of harsh. I should apologize. So I went and I apologized to him, and he said, he accepted my apology. And then he went right back to doing what he wasn't supposed to be doing. And just over and over and over again. So it's like, sometimes I think, maybe I shouldn't have apologized. Maybe I should, maybe should have allowed it to sting. It's like, yeah, I was kind of a dick to you, but you had it fucking coming because you're not doing your goddamn job the way you're supposed to. And maybe, if I'd been more of a dick, then he would have understood and wouldn't have fucking been doing that. Don't know. We'll never know.
It actually, generally speaking, takes a lot to get me to a place where I will even have the conversation that this what's going on between us right now fucking sucks. So if you've got me to the place where I'm talking to you and I'm saying, I'm going to need you to stop hurting me in this way, or I'm going to need you to stop disrespecting me, I'm going to need this thing to change, right? If you got me to that place, you pushed me further than most people would have ever pushed me. If you got me to the place where I walked away, you pushed me way further than most people would have ever pushed me. And if I came back in good faith because you came to me a couple of weeks later...
Well, now there's something that toxic masculinity in the chat, actually, that finally sounds like it might be a little bit toxically masculine, although more like toxically homosexual, I guess. Tom needs to give us all rim jobs. It's actually funny, Of course, again, it's like previous things they've said tells me that they're really on the girl's side and they're whatnot. But it's like that. I mean, yeah. I mean, taken in a vacuum, I would assume that this person was acknowledging how ridiculous everybody is for demanding that Tom apologize to everyone for everything, etc., 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 and what a piece of shit he is and whatnot. It's like, it's then like it. But like I said, I'm pretty sure that previous things that this person has said didn't make it sound like they understood how ridiculous it all is.
And you're like, you're right, I know, I screamed at you and I'm sorry, and it won't happen again, and you know, and this sort of weird ebb and flow cycle, and it's really fucking abusive. You're right, and I know now why he kept bringing
weird name again. Damn it, I hate this situation. I dealt with guys like this. They create division, send double messaging, and look happy in public, but in private are bullies. Solution, call and kick them out. Okay, I assume that means call them out and then kick them out. Okay. Of course, kick them out of what? I mean, you kicking him out of what, the Fandom Menace or something, or the general community that he's a part of, I guess. But you know, how's that not cancel culture? But the kick him out. It's like kick him out of his channel, because it's, I mean, for the most part, he's on his channel, on shows on his channel, and people are bitching that he shouldn't even be there. You know, it's like, it's like he shouldn't be on, this show that's on his channel, and it's like, really? And as far as the, again, like I said, it's more of that, just sort of corporate, mindset, as far as the, put a happy, face on it in public for public relations purposes, and then be a dick to people in the background. It's like that's common. That's just a common corporate thing. It's all too common for business. And I don't know. Is he creating the division? I don't know. That's the thing. I don't know. I don't know whether he's creating the division or whether people just, taking whatever he is doing too personally or whatever, and getting too pissed off about it is what's actually creating. I don't know.
me back, because turns out hot geek girls are hard to come by. And as much as there are lots of them in this community, we are a relatively small demographic. And I was useful. I was really useful for Tom. At least that's after the shut up, sit down, be quiet, and then I'm sorry, come back cycle happened a bunch of times. I don't know what else to think it is. I don't know how else to perceive.
The Fandom Menace is nothing like the mob. We will forgive you if you apologize to all of us, Tom. Oh. Don't do it, Tom. Don't. There's no point. There's no point. At this point, you should treat all these simping motherfuckers, and the women to a certain extent, it's like all of them are acting very much like SJWs. I'm beginning to think that, there's far fewer people who aren't actually essentially SJWs in some capacity than I thought. I thought that SJWs were the minority. I'm beginning to think that no, they have managed to get enough people to be all, up in arms over their fifis in society, that it's that in some sort of tacit way or something, it's like, yeah, they actually are the majority now. I don't know, but it certainly does seem like there's far too many people that that when something like this comes up in a community that is supposedly anti-SJW in general, in principle, too many of the people that start talking like SJWs. They start saying the same kind of bullshit about people speaking their truth, and how somebody needs to apologize, and all this other horse shit, and that, I don't know. I think I don't know. See, the thing is that Tom's not really that entertaining. Tom needs to reinvent himself, try to be a bit more like Ethan, adopt a more flamboyant, more intentionally, although humorous, of course, but kind of intentionally misogynistic look. It's like, oh, you want to brand me a misogynist? Fine, I will take that and I will run with it. It's like, and as long as you're not serious about it, as long as you don't overdo it, it's like it should be fine. Like if he could potentially reinvent himself, be more like Ethan, and be much more entertaining, and be like, oh yeah, that works for you, Tom. Like, it's a good look. And the funny thing is, if he, he always seems like more of a, a kind of a laid back sort of dude on most of the streams and shit. Most of the time, seems to be anyway. I mean, they keep saying, that's why it's weird to me. It's like they keep saying, oh, he's yelling at us, he's freaking out, and it's like most of the time that I see him he's on with other people, other guys on on other people's channels or whatever, and maybe he's on his best behavior or something, but whenever I see him, like on Friday Night Tights or whatever, it's like he always seems pretty mellow and to some degree muted. Like he doesn't talk as much as a lot of the others do. But the interesting thing here is, I think that if he did try to, and if he was successful, and hey, it's a bit of threading the needle or whatever, but if he managed to reinvent himself and be more like Ethan, then and he carried that over to a certain extent to his personal life, it's like he'd probably find that a lot more women were into him, because women like guys that are boisterous and well, honestly, they like women. Women tend to like men who are assholes. I've seen this over and over again, and it's just it confuses the hell out of me, or well, it used to, I guess. It's like, why? It's like but women do. It's like, I guess it's genetic. It's like they just they can't help themselves. They like the bad boys. They always harbor some fucking delusion that they'll change them and make them not so bad after. It's like, oh, I'll settle him down, and it's like, no, you won't. So you got to be very careful with the you don't want the bad boy who is actually going to be like abusive, like truly abusive, not pretend abusive like Tom, but really abusive, like beats the shit out of you, abusive. Because you wind up with that one, ladies. You wind up with that one sometimes when you're going after the bad boys. Sometimes they really are bad. There's some bad motherfuckers out there. Anyway, Tom's inner is super insecure Tom. The moderate in hot chicks. What? Who turned him down? The moderate in, the letter N, hot chicks, who turned him down. I don't know what the fuck that person is trying to say. Like I said, what is it? People trying to type too fast or something? Because some of these people in the chat that seem to have been speaking English earlier are now lapsing into this really broken English, and I'm not understanding what they're trying to get at.
If you keep screaming at me like this, and then come and grab me back, it must be because you think I'm really useful. And
I just subbed to Mary not too long ago. Well, hot geek girls that speak against SJWs are hard to find. Oh, the irony. You guys are valuable, don't change. Except they're acting like SJWs more and more, and so are you fuckers in the chat, too. And there's the super simp again, and this one's meant to be sent to Tom. Tom, your need to be a man and apologize to Mecca. Not if he wasn't in the wrong. He doesn't need to, dickhead. Mary and OG, be a man, Tom, and take your lumps. Look, there's no point, like I've already said, there's no point in Tom fucking apologizing to these women. There obviously isn't, because he already has at this point. At this point, he had already apologized to many of them, and it didn't do any good. And there's certainly no point in apologizing to all of these people in the chat or whatever. Some of the people in the chat are calling for him to apologize to everybody. And it's like, he doesn't owe any of you fuckers an apology. He didn't do anything to you. Even if he did something to these women that he was streaming with or whatever, he didn't fucking do anything to you guys. So shut the fuck up. That'd be like me demanding that, Tom needs to apologize to me. It's like, no, he doesn't. He's not doing anything to me. It's ridiculous. And at this point I would advise him not to apologize to anybody. Like I said, adopt a more Ethan, sort of mentality of, fuck you all. It's like, I am toxically masculine, it's like, I am a misogynist. Fuck these bitches. It'd probably do wonders for him, really. Probably do wonders for his personal life as well as his YouTube career. And as far as this super simp dipshit, Tom needs to be a man and apologize. Like, again, there's no reason under any circumstances to apologize to people if they're wrong and you're right. Now, like I said, don't know for sure whether Tom is necessarily in the right, but I'm leaning towards believing that he is when it comes to Mecca, because I got a feeling that a huge amount of what went down between the two of them had to do with her saying things, like I said, that were potentially even, illegal, defamatory about Zack Snyder and whatnot, and at the very least were dangerous things to be saying, that they could get their channels deleted or something. And basically he was just like, Mecca, you need to shut the fuck up about this, and her attitude was just one of, no, I have freedom of speech, I can say whatever I want. I suspect a lot of the problem between the two of them was in that regard, because that's, Mecca does not seem to get that there are some things that, you really shouldn't say that. It's like, she seems to believe that her freedoms should be absolute, even when they infringe on the rights of others, doesn't matter, It's like, no, that's not how this works, Mecca. But she doesn't seem to get that, so I'm leaning towards believing that a lot of the problems between her and Tom are her fucking fault rather than his. That doesn't mean that he's may not be somewhat at fault, but like I said, I'm figuring she's largely at fault. Now the other women, I don't know. I don't fucking know. Although again, I'd lean towards believing that any problems between Tom and Jesse, kind of the same way, because Jesse, frankly, is a real bitch when she wants to be, just like Mecca. So, and I don't know about the others. Maybe they are, maybe they aren't. I don't think I've seen enough of Mary Mayhem or OG Star Wars or any of these other women to really be in a position to say much about, do I think that they're the kind of person who would, just be a crazy bitch and and fucking do shit that, so I don't know. And if Tom or whoever has deleted a bunch of shit off Midnight's Edge channels, and evidence is now gone, it's like, well, if none of these bitches thought to save it or back it up on BitChute or something so that he couldn't get to it, then it's your own fucking fault that the evidence is now gone.
And, but you're also annoyed by the fact that...
Not that they apparently wanted or needed evidence. They apparently got enough people for them to be happy to believe their accusations, absent evidence. Just they say it and that's enough. So they apparently didn't feel like they needed to provide any receipts.
I'm not easily controlled, and I'm either valuable or I'm not, Tom. If you keep coming back and apologizing for screaming at me and taking it too far and then making an excuse of, oh, I'm just really passionate. You understand what that sounds like? Give me another way to read that on the 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th time that you screamed at me and then come back and said, it's just because I'm really passionate. I got too close. I care so much. You're like my daughter. You would treat your daughter this way? You would scream at her? You would tell her she was ungrateful?
Well, actually, I've seen... well, I won't say plenty. I've seen a number of fathers who scream at their daughters. Now, they don't scream at them all the time, obviously. They're quite nice to them most of the time, but when they're when they're fucking up, it's like, yeah, sometimes you get a verbal lashing. Fathers tend to be more, in my experience, fathers tend to be more likely to verbally lash their daughters rather than apply any physical whatever to them, any spankings or whatever. They don't tend to do that to their daughters. They tend to be really again, your mileage may vary. I'm sure there are plenty of men out there who do, spank their daughters, even, beat the shit out of them. But in my experience, it's like they're more likely to get, a tongue lashing. They're more likely to get bitched out about something and actually suffer no physical, punishment of any kind. Whereas, sons are more likely to, oh yeah, you're getting the belt. My mother was fond of a breadboard, actually, but anyway.
Grateful and unworthy. You would do that. That's not love. That's not love. That's not how you treat someone you care about. In the year that I've been with Andrew, we've never yelled at each other. In the 2.5 years that Miss has been my best friend, we've had 2 arguments.
Congratulations. In my experience, boyfriends and girlfriends have a tendency to fucking yell at each other all the goddamn time. I'm just saying.
Yelled in neither of those. Where's the common denominator? This doesn't happen with anyone else I know, Tom. So why is it happening here?
And she's gone.
I don't know if you guys can hear this, but somebody's outside on the street shouting Stella.
Okay, that's the interesting thing. Flaming to you sounds like a psychopath, and it's like, no, Mecha sounds like the psychopath, in my opinion. OG Star Wars is gone. I hope that's not because she crashed a car or something. Just Nova says, my problem is I have PTSD. Marine? Okay, and it's hard for me to express feelings or understand the feelings and emotions of my family. I'm not perfect, but at least I know I have an issue. Okay, I don't know if that's in response to something that seems like a non sequitur. There's, I don't know. Somebody mentioned Joe Rogan. I don't know what the fuck that's about. Mecha, Andre is so pathetic. He has his kid's future on a channel that he let Tom control. What the hell does that even mean? He has his kids. I don't understand what that. Is she talking about money invested in the channel, or hopes riding on making money from the channel? I don't know. I don't know. You know, or has he put his kid on one of the channel? I don't understand. That doesn't make sense.
Stella, come back.
Kick 2, and I'm like, you're no Marlon Brando. Get the fuck out. Oh no, Laura.
There we go. Sorry, I don't know what happened. I think my mouse. I tweaked my mouse somehow and I jumped out.
These things. I hate when I accidentally.
Her mouse. Okay. So all those car noises that we heard from her end, does that mean she wasn't actually in the car? She's actually at a desktop computer or something, and oh, what is with these people? I mean, look, okay, admittedly, there's, you can, I can hear like road noises in my house. It's like, the road is. I'm bad at measuring distance, but it's not that many, yards away or whatever. It's like, and the fire department's pretty close by, and it's like you can certainly hear the sirens. A lot of times you can hear the trash truck driving by and shit like that. But it's like, when I say I can hear it, I can hear it. It's not usually picked up by the microphone when shit like that happens. Doesn't seem to be anyway. Like, like I can hear, even with the headphones on, I can hear when there's like thunder outside or something, and then I listen on the video later. It's like I listen back to it to see how things went, and it's like, nope, can't hear it. So where is it that these people live that they're like, apparently the road is like, their walls are made of paper, and their office or whatever is right up against the wall, the front wall, which is like a couple of feet away from the road or something, and so you can hear every fucking vehicle that drives by, I guess. I don't know. That's just odd. And there's the super simp again. I'm going to stick with calling him that. Until you do, Tom, I will only expect from you unconditional surrender. What the fuck kind of weird-ass dipshit is this person?
I'm in the middle of streaming, like, whoops.
Whoops. This is a test, everybody. See if you guys are awake in chat.
Exactly. Hi. Yeah, let's check in with the chat. Runs with Phantoms. Thank you very, very much. The psychopaths make you think they're awesome and loyal, but they're really making you their marionette. Then they claim ignorance when caught. So sorry, coming from a victim of a manipulative psychopath. Hearing a lot of people echoing that and seeing the parallels very clearly. Fochong Esquire, thank you. You were out here supporting a lot yesterday, too. Ladies, I wish the best for you.
Okay, I'm sorry. Nick McCabe. Is he one of the FBI traitors? No, that's Andrew, right? Okay. Geek girls are great. The passion, the energy, the intelligence. I could make multiple comments there, but I won't. Jesse, OG Star Wars, Mecha, and Mary are awesome. And there are so many more. Are there? I don't know what the hell this is. I didn't see somebody. Of course, we're in top chat, I guess. So, but like I said, I don't want to fuck it up by trying to change it. Mecha replying to Dark Shadow 308 saying he was recently let go, and I don't know what that's in reference to. Is that in reference to Rob? Was Rob let go from Midnight's Edge? I don't know.
All much respect. Thank you. Demi Moore's tapeworm. Wow, I live in an asshole and think this stinks. I'm so sorry, ladies. Stay strong. The truth will expose the fakes. It will all come to an end. Thank you. Max Doran 1101 says this guy makes Brie Larson sound low maintenance. Oh yeah, no fucking shit. They're perfect for each other, actually. Sean.
Oh, sorry.
This is a great question from Sean Roussel. Says, why is Tom on a show called Toxic Feminine?
And there goes the Super Simp again with saying to Mecha, "Stay strong. I send you all the love." Oh my god.
In the first place. This is something I always scratch my fucking head on too. And I get it. There's a fucking, I guess, some justification in somebody's mind. But dear fucking God, when you don't want to be accused of virtue signaling, you probably shouldn't sit your ass down and clearly be the one orchestrating and micromanaging every element of your female show. It's not a good look. Everyone can fucking see that.
And there's the weird name again. If the guys at Friday Night Tights ignore this situation within the community, all will be compromised supporting a bully. Well, I think they are probably ignoring the situation, which is, frankly, the reasonable thing for them to do. It's not, like, if they just stay quiet about it, then the majority of people are probably not going to hear all these people bitching, and will just continue to enjoy, Friday Night Tights and whatnot. So, yeah. At least I think they are. Like I said, I don't watch it all the time or anything, so I wouldn't know if they did address it. But I'm assuming they probably didn't address it, since it does seem like Gary doesn't like to address any such things, if he can help it. Old school film and gaming reviews, thank you. Please send love to Mary and Alora. That is a weird spelling. Alora. And JC too. Mr. Tapeworm certainly is the most profound and thoughtful individual among us all. Well, does that say something about the...
I want to address what Stieg just said. And look, everybody knows Stieg and I are friends. And Stieg, I'm going to tweak your timeline there yet, because I actually know when I got here. I got here in January. Well, this was my first stream. It's just...
Shadazar, I always wonder why Tom was on Toxic Femme, or why Drunk 3PO is on that all-woman show. Well, I would assume that Tom is on it because it's his show on his channel, I believe, if I understood that correctly. And as far as Drunk 3PO, probably it's because the women all like him, because he does seem to appeal to the ladies for whatever reason, which is weird, because he's not the asshole that you would expect him to need to be to appeal to that many women. Well, whatever.
December. It was my first start doing streams.
Agreed. Why was Tom on that show?
Okay.
Again,
So
it's his channel. If he wants to be on the show, he can be.
I've known Stieg for all of it, okay? Known Stieg for 2.5 years. We fought. And by fought, I mean...
Tom,
argued.
I have
Don't
black
agree.
friends, so I'm not racist, Connors.
Not to drag the Snyder into it, but just an example.
Is he actually, is he doing anything racist? I mean, that seems to be something that Mecha and maybe the others, but Mecha in particular seems to be continually harping on about how Tom hides behind diverse friends or something, uses them as shields for, and it's like, does he ever do anything that would require him to shield himself? I'm not aware of him saying or doing anything that's racist, and I'm not or homophobic or aside from these largely seemingly bullshit complaints, haven't heard him doing anything that's particularly misogynist either. So it's like, what is the virtue signaling? I have diverse friends and hide behind them when I receive criticism. It's like, I wasn't aware that he was getting any fucking criticism for any of this shit until you bitches started going after him. So I don't know.
People hate Snyder shit. I hate Snyder shit. I don't like it. think it's awful.
It's
And I-
garbage. Zack Snyder sucks. It's a terrible filmmaker. Period.
and
Absolutely.
that's my opinion, and I'm very much entitled to it. And you know who really likes it? Steve. Steve really likes it. We've argued a lot about it. We've argued about a lot of stuff. And we've done shows together, and then stopped doing shows together. And we did Failed Save, which was like a D&D show, and that didn't, end the way I would have liked it to. At least it ended, and I would prefer to keep going. But at the end of the day, there's many like spats and moments where Steve and I found ourselves on opposing ends.
And there's Becca again. That was always my problem with the show. Why was it Toxic Femme and Tom? R.I.P. Jesse's voice. Well, like I said, if it's his channel, which I believe it is, that the show is on, and he wants to be on the show, how exactly do you justify, oh, well, he shouldn't be on the show? It's like, if it's his show, essentially, it's like, I'm sorry, but it's like, if you're the guy in charge of it, then I don't understand. It's like saying, why the hell does the boss come to the company picnic? Like, why the fuck doesn't he stay out of this? This is for the employees only. And it's like, no, it's not. It's the company picnic. It's like, if the boss wants to show up, he can. Like, why does the boss sit why does the boss over the president or whatever over everything here sit on our particular division's meetings? Because he wants to. And because he's in charge and he can fucking do it. What is so complicated about that?
Of a thing. We've never yelled at one another, and something Stieg and I have always been able to do, even when I feel like he's just completely in the wrong, is we've always been able to agree to disagree. We've agreed there, right? And we even ask each other, okay, and we'll go back and forth for a bit, and then we realize that we've come to that place where there's nothing else to be said, and we aren't going to sway one another, and that's okay. We said, okay, we'll talk to you later. That's okay, and that was that. And
deleting MySpace now? What the f does that even mean?
We've never yelled at each other.
I guess that's a meme.
Contrary to what I look
I'm
like,
not
I
privy to.
know I do a lot of yelling on stream. Contrary to that, I'm actually not.
Oh boy, here's Sweet Pea. Tom probably gets sexually frustrated that he can't actually have one of these beautiful women. It explains the disgusting butt chug comments. Except that wasn't... That was a super chat. That was not him. He didn't come up with that shit. I don't know. I don't know. As far as the man's... there's Black Phoenix apparently not privy to that meme, if it is a meme either. MySpace, is that still a thing? But yeah, it's like, as far as him being sexually frustrated, I don't know. I don't care. It's none of my business. And frankly, it's not really theirs either. It's like, you're always getting accusations of that sort of thing, hurled at people. I guess it's just basically meant to be another way of trying to belittle someone by saying that you just wish that it's like you have problems with these bitches because they're bitches, but your real problem is that you just want to sleep with them and you can't. You can't get a woman that's hot like that or some shit. It's like, I don't know. I mean, I can't recall. Like I said, I probably watched one of those streams like one time or something. I don't remember what they all look like. I mean, there's these three women that are not on camera, but but their pictures are up right now on the stream, and I'm sure lots of people would probably be grossed out by this, but I'll go ahead and say it. Of the three of them, I think, in all honesty, the one that I'd be most attracted to is actually Jesse. I even knowing what Jesse's like personality-wise, which, I mean, obviously that's an instant, deal breaker right there. But just on looks alone, it's like, no offense to the girl on the bottom, she can't control it, but that picture, it's like you've got way too much forehead. Like that's more like 6 head or 8 head there, and not necessarily the whole, oh, her nose is too big thing, but the crazy eyes on Mary, it's like, that's, that's kind of... So, based on just the pictures that are going off, it's like, yeah, Jessie would actually be the one... She'd actually be the most, of interest to me. But I don't think any of them are, I mean, of all the women that I can think of offhand that are in this sphere or whatever, it's like probably Anna with her, with her D cups, and generally being fairly pretty, despite the fact that that she's got so many weird eccentricities and apparently web toes. It's like, she's like the hottest one of all of them by far, and I don't know. It's just, but I don't know. It's not something that I guess I don't. I mean, obviously, I don't interact with these women, but even if I did, it's like I don't think I'd really be thinking about, oh, I really want to sleep with her, because it's like that's just a face on the internet. It's just it's like they're I don't know. It's just wouldn't occur to me. It's like, real life. It's like, sure, real life person that you interact with in real life, you might think that of them, but when they're on the internet and they live in different parts of the country or whatever, it's like what is the point? What is the point? Like, you're almost certainly never going to meet them in person. I mean, I guess Tom did meet Mecca or whatever. It's like they've been places together, but it's like for the most part, you're probably not going to meet these people in person. So, why even? I don't know. Of course, I'm also hampered by I would want to have an actual relationship with somebody and not be like, oh yeah, sure, maybe one day we will meet and we will have a one night stand. It's like it's not of interest to me.
Yeller. At least, well, you can take from that what you mean. Giggity. I'm not even really young text. Okay. When it comes to the people I care about, I have experienced what happens when you engage with someone you care about in a way that makes it hard to come back to the table later.
Mm-hmm.
Why would you do that to someone you love? Why would you make someone you love feel like when things have calmed down, if they can calm down after, because if you scream, it will calm down, but not in a good way.
To what extent could you act? And I'm not even talking like obviously romantic. I already mentioned that situation, but even platonic, love, like a relationship that would be to the point that you would consider that you actually. I mean, look, I don't. I love my parents. I love my sister. There's very, very few people beyond that I mean, well, my grandparents, I guess, but there's very few people beyond my immediate family that I would ever consider saying I love you, to or about. Like, it's it's not something that I would, it's not something to use lightly, in my opinion. So I can't imagine knowing someone well enough when you've only known them on the internet to really genuinely love them. I mean, that you might like them, sure, but love them, that's a little, I don't know. It's just, I mean, so I don't know. To me, I wouldn't be expressing that I loved anybody that I was streaming with or had some sort of business relationship with or anything like that, and I'd be very suspicious of the of whether they really felt that if they were expressing that to me. Like, I'd be like, that's really weird. It's like I don't it's like I don't really believe this person that says that I've never met who says that they love me. It's like that's just so odd. And I realize that some people are more, especially women, have a tendency sometimes to be like, oh, I love so and so, and it's like they throw it around a lot more easily. But I don't know.
If you scream when it is calm, it's not going to be the same.
Mm-hmm.
You can't come back to that table and look at them in the eye and still respect yourself at the end of the day. And why would you ask someone to set their own personal dignity aside just to be able to spend time with you? Why would you do that to someone you care for? Why would you ask them that in order to engage with you, they have to put their own self-respect on a back burner just to come back and look at you? Because that's what that is.
I don't know. Like I said, more context, more evidence would be really helpful to to be able to say for sure about this shit. There's Nick again in the chat. If you don't like Snyder stuff, that's up to you. Well, like I said, it was okay. My take on the Snyder cut was it was okay, but especially after watching Mahler's review, it's like, yeah, he's right. Just like there's a lot of plot holes, a lot of fucking plot holes. Who am I to judge? I like Halle Berry's Catwoman. Actually, so do I. Oddly enough, I'm maybe if I'd been really into the comics, I mean, maybe I would have been pissed at that adaptation. I found it weird. It's a weird movie. It feels, I don't know. But I don't know. It's something about Halle Berry's Catwoman movie makes it feel like the whole thing kind of exists in a vacuum anyway. Like it just feels so disconnected from anything else DC related or whatever. It doesn't feel like it was part of the same universe. It feels like it was this weird alternate reality, pocket dimension even. Because there's there's just so much that's kind of vague about the world that they built for it. Like I said, it feels so unconnected that it's easy enough to just watch it for me at least, as though it existed in a vacuum. And I mean, Halle Berry was really, really gorgeous, so it's like, and she's dressed in I guess you could consider it a fetish costume. So it's like, I got no problems with this. I got no problems with this movie. It's fine. It's not a great movie, but it was enjoyable enough. So, anyway.
That's what that is when someone screams at you, and you were like, stop, please, stop. I'm trying to talk to you, please. And then they hang up the phone. They slam the phone down on you, and you're like, why are you doing?
Okay, so apparently they were actually on the phone with each other, I guess, when this crap happens. And again, it's like if he was actually being she's saying he slammed the phone down on her, which slammed it down. It's like, what? He didn't have a fucking cell phone. He's on an old-fashioned landline, a wired landline too that you fucking hang up by putting it on the hook instead of just clicking a button. Man, that's old school. Tom's old school with his telecommunications. But it's like, if you were on the phone with him and he was being abusive, then why didn't you hang up on him? That's the thing that just doesn't, so much of their behavior, assuming that what they're saying about him and his behavior is true, so much of their behavior in response just doesn't make any sense. It never has. I have a whole Jesse in the chat says I have a whole host of remedies for the voice. Okay, okay.
This, just talk to me. Like, can we bring this down? And I swear to God, Jesse, and I don't do that. I don't swear to God, but I have done that with Tom, where he's screaming, and I'm like, please stop, please.
Yeah.
I cannot talk to you like this.
Yeah.
And he just keeps, and then I break, and I say, I can't. I'm gonna go. And then he keeps texting, and I'm saying, leave me alone. Just leave me alone. I can't do this anymore. It's exhausting. Why would you do that to someone you love? They can't come back from that. How do they come back?
Man, this is
You can't do
brutal.
that.
No, it's not. It's not goddamn brutal. Again, so much drama. Yes, it's too much drama. It's melodrama. It's over the top. Like I said, it's like, look, I understand that, yes, given enough time, someone who is, or you at least feel they are being emotionally abusive to you, it's like, yes, I understand it's really grating over time. I understand it can set your nerves on edge after long enough of having to deal with it. However, if it was becoming anything like that, why the fuck didn't you just get out of there? Why didn't you just and of course, like I said, I think we know the answer. The answer is she didn't want to lose access to a larger channel and that potential audience. So, yeah, I have really hard time feeling any sympathy for somebody who is apparently choosing to stay in a bad situation because they're hoping to get something out of it. It's like, okay, well, then that's on you. It's like it's on you at that point, not on the other person. It's like if somebody is being verbally abusive to you or whatever, and you can just walk away at any time, and you choose not to because you're hoping to gain benefit from the relationship somehow, then that's on you. You know, that's like some woman being in a relationship with a guy who, you know, occasionally smacks her around, and she doesn't like that, but the sex is great, and she's like, "Oh, I don't want to lose the sex," and it's like, well, then it's on you that you stay there. It's like if he's not kidnapped you or nothing. It's like you can stop seeing him anytime you want. You just don't want to because he's really good in the sack. And it's like, well, then I got no fucks to give, honey. It's it's on you. It's on you at that point.
Never is.
That is one of the core reasons why my last relationship ended. That's because
how many channels does Tom control? Really only one, right? But he shares control, I guess, with the main Midnight's Edge channel with Andre, and then Midnight's Edge After Dark, I guess, is Tom's channel. I mean, he goes on as a guest on other channels, but as far as I'm aware, that's like there's just those two, or has Midnight's Edge spawned another channel by now? I don't know. Sweet Pea says, I've been screamed at before like that. It's not fun. Well, no, it's never fun to be screamed at, probably. Well, I mean, I guess some people are into that sort of thing, but anyway, most people don't find it fun. It's jarring and impossible. Impossible? Jarring? Yes. Impossible? I don't know. You can't rationally speak with irrational people. Well, that's true enough, but then again, it's like, Mecca has been behaving very irrationally, and frankly, what I've seen, it's like Tom is behaving rationally in what interactions with Mecca that I've seen him have. He seems like the rational one, and she's the irrational one. And yes, I agree. He's not able to communicate with her because she's such an irrational bitch. Oh my God. All right.
My ex had a problem giving me space when I asked for it. That when I said I need space, I need distance, and he couldn't do it. He couldn't leave me alone. He could not text. He could not call. He could not whatever. And that was enough, for me to want to not be in a deeply involved romantic relationship. That is.
Good God, this person that's been super chatting $50 to say almost nothing this whole time. I think this is Jad, $50. Will he be on the next Friday Night Tights? Let's see. I believe he was. But now this sent not a super chat, just a regular chat saying, if you let me know Hijabi will be on, I'll donate $100. Okay, that's massive simping, and it's diversity simping. Oh my God, the amount of diversity as our strength, all that horse shit that geeks and gamers or cucks and consolers. It's wish I had the video pulled up. Play that video again, cucks and consolers. But anyway, the degree to which they're doing the whole virtue signal horseshit is just it's really oh God, I can't even find words to describe it. It's such utter horseshit. It's such garbage. And essentially, the inverse of what people like them originally claimed to be. So I guess we know that they were always full of shit. Not surprised. No.
It's not okay. It's not. It is not acceptable. This is the world we live in. We're fucking had conversations about consent out the goddamn asshole, and still.
Now wait a minute. What? I don't even know what day offhand May the 13th was. But Mecca's in the chat saying, looks like Tom, Gary, Az, and the Friday Night Tights crew are trashing us. So was Friday Night Tights happening at the same time as this? Maybe. That's interesting. I guess I should go to Gary's live. What is Nerdrotic Live or whatever, and see if I can find the one from around this time period and see if they actually did trash the women or not. That'd be funny. They probably didn't, but it'd be funny if they did.
it's confusing for people that when somebody lays down the fucking law to you and says, this is what I need from you right now, I need you to shut up and leave me alone, I need you to go away, I need you to stop fucking screaming in my face, that you can't do that, that you for some reason think that whatever you need to get off your chest by acting like a child and ranting, raving, and screaming at somebody is more important than them begging you to treat them with decency.
And people don't realize that, you know, respecting someone's space in a sense and like letting them go walk away and cool down and stuff allows you to cool down, you maybe the hothead to cool down, and then there can be some common middle ground from there, and then you can realize, oh crap, maybe I was wrong with this, oh crap, maybe they were right, you know, there's that common ground, and you know, productivity comes from that, respect and you know the growth of relationship comes from that. People don't.
I will admit, some of the few times when I've, you know, just been pushed to the breaking point, as it were, is when people won't leave me the fuck alone. It's like, okay, you know, if everybody will just give me some space, I'll be fine. And they won't. And they just keep on. And it's like, okay, this is, you know, I'm at the end of my fucking rope now. Shut the fuck up. And, you know, it's like, the few times that I actually blow up at people, it's like, you know, that's usually why. Because they just won't fucking give me some goddamn room. That they won't let whatever the fuck subject it is drop. You know, and like I said, you can always make that argument about you know, Tom shouldn't have gone back and kept, you know, trying to make his point. It's like, you know, I'm sure that part of it was that he felt like it wasn't made because it seemed like nobody got it. But
understand, and I have to take a look, and you know, I've spoken at Native American Women's Conference about family structure and the abuse and stuff within Native culture and stuff, and seeing the abuse of, you know, how parents were treated or their grandparents were treated in mission schools and stuff like that, and now how the kids are being treated, and I can't help but think about how Tom was treated growing up.
I'm not going to make any speculation on that.
No, I'm not either. I'm just saying that's just my productive, you know, mind thinking about that, and I just feel sad for him, and that's where I'm coming from. It's sad for him, and all that, and you know, like I said, and I said before, I wish him peace, and I wish him healing. I wish this whole situation healing.
I will say this, and look, I'm well aware. Like I said in the beginning when we started the stream, I'm well aware of what position I've placed myself. And for the people who are inevitably going to say, again, behind closed doors, in group chats, but to people that they trust to not say anything, right? Because that's how this works. Is, you talk to people you trust to not say anything. That they're all going to say, well, she made her bed and may she lie in it. I know what I'm doing. I know what I am doing to myself right now. I made this choice because it is what is right. Because at the end of the day, handling it behind closed doors wasn't an option that was viable, that worked. I tried. Yes,
I love how she kind of says that. Whisper Network. I love how she kind of says that, and it's like she's saying, oh, people are saying it made her bed or whatever. And it's like, but she seems to be applying that to her burning her bridges now, as people saying that about that. You know, I mean, did I misunderstand? That's what it sounded like she was basically saying, and it's like, no, what I'm saying, you know, you made your bed, is like, don't expect me to feel sorry for you, is you supposedly were being abused, and you could have left at any time, and you didn't. Like, that's where I don't see any reason to have any sympathy for you. It's like, you should have just walked away. I would have. You know, any you know, reasonable person would have. If you really felt like you were being abused, then you should have just left. And you didn't. And of course, like I said, we know why, because you wanted something out of it. That's why you stuck around. So, like I said, don't expect me to give any fucks about that. Black Phoenix, I don't know who Az and Friday Night Tights are, but I never liked Gary. Whenever he was on Midnight's Edge morning show, I don't think I've ever watched that. I wouldn't listen to it. Interesting. Well, I didn't think Gary was that objectionable. I mean, whatever.
Whisper Network. The Whisper Network is a great thing to call this, because it's not, as you claim, handling it behind closed doors.
Oh, she hates Testify, and you know, and they call him a shitbag, and then they're using his terminology. It's like Whisper Network. Whisper Network is a great thing to call it. Oh my God.
It's so much more insidious than that. Yeah. This is not something you handle behind closed doors. It's the getting together of people in little groups and going, did you see this, and talking about it.
Exactly. Handling your business privately and going behind people's backs to every single other person and talking shit about them, or deciding that you're going to excommunicate them or how you're going to deal with them.
Oh, for fuck's sake! Look at this weird name in the chat. Simple. Friday Night Tights wants to avoid getting involved. ? For respect to the viewers, just take Tom out until he fixes his situation within the community. So bye-bye, Tom, period. It's not up to you who goes on Friday Night Tights or not. That's up to Gary. He can have whoever the fuck he wants on. As far as I know, he kept on having Tom on, still does, as far as I'm aware. So obviously he did not consider that, Tom needs to go away until he's fixed the situation. Gary probably considered that he doesn't give a shit about this situation. It's got nothing to do with him, so whatever. And, it's like, for respect of the viewers, which ones? Like, I'm sure he has his fans on there, and possibly there are more of them watching Friday Night Tights than there are asswipes like you who are simping for the women who are like, Tom needs to be canceled right now, goddammit. and don't you think that sounds like exactly what it is, cancel culture? Because like all these assholes, it's like they don't want Tom's, they want everybody to unsub from Tom's channel. They want everybody to unsub from the Midnight Edge main channel or whatever. They're doing that. They're expressing in the chat that they're doing that. And now they apparently want him kicked off of Friday Night Tights. It's like, it does kind of sound like it, doesn't it? Doesn't it sound like at least the simps, maybe not the women expressly, but maybe implied somewhat, but the simps in the chat definitely sound like they want Tom canceled.
That is not handling shit privately.
No,
that
it's
is
not.
Hearing other people's business everywhere. That's being a gossipy little bitch. That is worse than taking it out publicly.
The
That's way
sideways
worse.
glances, girl. It's the sideways glances, and the people make those. They put the tweets out there. They make the tweets, right?
I'm about to start my channel, and I was telling some friends that I have no desire to be associated with the Fandom Menace. I want to be myself. Period! Exclamation point. You really kind of need to choose one, punctuation-wise. Don't use period and an exclamation point, just one or the other. I can totally understand why you wouldn't want to be associated with the Fandom Menace particularly. But at the same time, even if you were somehow associated with them either by choice or because other people kind of lumped you in with them or whatever, how does that stop you from being yourself? I mean, are you suggesting that if you declare that you're Fandom Menace, or if somebody else does or something, that you're going to wind up having Tom or Gary or somebody come to you and say, you need to toe the party line on this, on this subject or whatever, and then you can't make videos? It's like they don't have any control over you. They're, they don't have any control over what you do. You could ignore them if they decide to do something, which would be really weird if they decided to do that, but whatever. I don't understand. I don't understand people, and like, I don't want to be associated because I couldn't be myself. It's like, yeah, you could. You could be associated and be yourself. I don't know. It's weird. I don't know anything about Tom, so I'm not saying anything about anyone personally, but some people can be healed. Okay?
And they say the thing, but they don't at you, right? Next time at me, there's a reason that's a saying. And the reason that that's a saying is because it's something that people do when they don't want to be responsible for the thing
Black
they have
Phoenix
said
hates
about
Nerdrotic.
you behind closed doors.
Not giving any
right?
reasons.
It's the thing that people do when they don't want to be accountable and look you in the eye and say, this person said this thing about you. Is it true?
Yeah.
You make your sideways glances in your tweets. You can make whatever quirky little snarky tweets you want about me. Because like I said,
And Stig Kenobi says, this crap is why I quit Twitter the other day. All the drama behind the scenes. I haven't quit Twitter, but I don't pay much attention to it. And honestly, who cares? Who cares if other people are having drama? It's like, just don't get involved if you're not interested.
I know what I'm doing. It doesn't make what I'm saying not true.
It's so much fucking worse. Someone said earlier, it becomes a form of gaslighting, and it really does.
Yeah.
If you have any experience with addicts, which unfortunately I do, there are two types of alcoholics. There's the one that, gets totally sauced at the party, at dinner, every possible opportunity, and when you say you have had too much to drink, you have a problem, whatever, they say, oh no, I'm just having a little fun, just this, I've only had a couple, I've only had a few, it's not a big deal, whatever. And then there's the alcoholic that when you look at them and you say, you've been drinking, they go, no, I haven't. I don't drink. What are you talking about? I'm sober. I haven't had a drink in months. And lie to your fucking face about it. Even though you.
There's another alcoholic, actually, Jesse. The kind that, well, the kind that you look at them and you say you've been drinking, and they say, yes, I never stopped. That's another kind. That's a third kind of alcoholic there. They don't fucking pretend that they're not drinking. They drink all the goddamn time, and they don't. Now, admittedly, sometimes they will claim to not be drunk, which is kind of true, actually. It's like when you're sufficiently, when you become so much of an alcoholic, at some point, some people often become functional while sauced, kind of. It's like, yeah, they're legally they would probably be drunk, but they actually are perfectly capable of doing everything normally because it's just become so normal to them. They developed such a tolerance for the booze that they're fine. They have to drink more than usual in order to consider that they are drunk. And there's the super simp again saying, I stood side by side with Robert Meyer Burnett, and now for what? I mean, I don't know anything about Robert Meyer Burnett other than I don't like him, and he had Trump derangement syndrome. He's a jackass. So I don't know what is being referenced there specifically with him. And now I stand side by side with you guys again. You have my love and support always. Yes. You've established that you are a super simp for the women, and apparently a super simp for Robert Meyer Burnett.
You can smell it on their breath, and that is the worst kind of person to deal with because you feel like you are going crazy because they're so sick. They're so and it really does. It takes some level of sickness to either buy into this so much to believe it, or be that willing to lie to somebody to their face with that level of conviction, so as to make the person who knows unequivocally what the truth is go, how do you not see this? What is wrong with me and what I'm doing that you can't see this as clearly as I do? It's fucked up.
I'm not advocating for any canceling or unsubbing. That's not why I'm here. Because I'm not mentioning names because I can't. Because you make it impossible for me to mention a name when you don't at me, bro. That's the insidious.
I'm going to be unsubbing and canceling memberships to a lot of channels. Yep. There you go.
Aspect of this, the people who make the sideways glances but don't have the courage of their convictions to stand up and say, this is what happened. I am being honest. And if you are uncomfortable with that, then perhaps you should look inward and ask yourself some very difficult questions. And I know that that's hard because if I hadn't done that myself, I wouldn't be sitting here. But if you have questions, talk to me. Yeah. I'll be honest. And I'm not afraid of the responsibility that comes with opening my mouth in this way. I'm not afraid of the ramifications because some things are more important. Yep. Sometimes it's more important when you've taken every avenue, when you've tried everything you know and you have no other recourse, then this is where you're left. And I'm not worried about your side eyes because I don't need you to believe me. I'm pretty sure you do deep down. I'm pretty sure you know deep down that you believe me. For some reason
the keyboard shortcut doesn't work.
It's really inconvenient.
I mean, it did to start it with, and then it doesn't afterwards. Matt Deckard says, this isn't canceling, this is venting. It's both. Haven't smoked weed while I have eyes that are bright red. Oh. Whatever. Street women, they know they can't ever get bad. What? Is he trying to say that they can't? I don't know. Yeah, this is taking the rotten apple out of the house. Okay.
I know that acknowledging me and believing me is really inconvenient for a lot of people. I know that. And I actually don't underestimate that or undermine that in any way.
Oh. Well, how about that? Buck Adams. Everyone is being so sensitive and blocking Tom from standing his ground, which is what we fight against. Well?
Because I didn't get here overnight. Like I said, I was a coward. I took a lot longer than I should have to stand here. I don't underestimate the difficulty of your position, of these people in this community, to stand there and go, we're not gonna blacklist her or whatever. I don't underestimate the difficulty of that. I know that sometimes you have to play the game, as it were, right? Because you're doing so well.
Understanding SJW
what might you
is
have
now?
to sacrifice? But when you side-eye me and you make your snarky responses and you make your snarky tweets and you act as though I'm full of shit, I spoke out loud and I have nothing to gain and everything to lose. I know why I'm here. There can be no bravery in the absence of fear, but I'm still here. I have the courage of my convictions to stand up.
And yet, it does sound like you're probably gaining subs. You know, it sounds like you're... well, Tom is screwed, that's for sure. Yeah, does seem to be. But it does sound like she's gaining things from this whole drama. You know, it does. She's gotten attention, she's apparently getting subs, simps, probably super chats, all kinds of shit. So, you know, there's that.
And if you hate me for that, then I can't help you. And maybe I don't need you.
I'd like to address that. Okay, Adam says everyone is being so sensitive and blocking Tom from standing his ground when he fights. Who's blocked Tom from anything, anywhere? Tom has a gigantic Twitter. Tom has a channel, 2 channels, and these perfectly gigantic channels that he has access to. He can at any point go live on any of his platforms and speak his mind and say his piece if that's what he chooses to do. That is his prerogative. Instead, he has chosen to handle this by going, as we've said, behind closed doors, which yes, we have seen proof of. Behind closed doors and trying to.
Yeah, he's handled it by deciding to just stay the fuck quiet about it, which, again, it's what a lot of people would probably advise him to do. Just say nothing. Nothing is probably going to happen to Tom, says Dark Shadow. That's why I asked Andre in this situation, or asked about Andre in this situation. Tom counter-stream anytime he wants. He isn't. Yeah, because he knows it wouldn't do any fucking good. All you assholes who are going to believe the women over him are going to do so no matter what he says. So there's no point in him even giving extra oxygen to the situation, which, frankly, was kind of what he was talking about with not giving the SJWs oxygen, you know? Just don't cover it. So this is going to be a bad year living near this neighbor. Is he talking about his actual neighbor in real life? What the fuck is that about? Super Simp again. The Fandom Menace isn't just a name, a title. It's a meaning. It's hope. Well, its name is becoming mud. Quite frankly, it's like, if it wasn't already, it's definitely becoming that with this shit and other shit that happens later, and probably more shit that will happen yet to come.
To create smear campaigns, trying to discredit the people involved, trying to basically find whoever he can to convince to be his allies by discrediting us quietly, and then coming out and going, "Why are you doing this publicly? Why are you doing this publicly? Why are you doing this publicly?" As if he's somehow more
just you make a public
you know what?
statement.
Tom is great at virtue signaling, so he's doing a good job.
No point.
Yeah, and then we
He's
have
made
Gordon
multiple
saying
public
we are
statements.
SJWs.
Doesn't
and
matter.
The thing is like we're speaking our truth here and stuff like that. We're not asking for cancellation whatsoever.
No, I'm not telling you.
Tom he canceled me by shit-talking me to everyone in private. Tom is an SJW. No, you're much closer to an SJW than Tom, Mecca. And this whole, he canceled me by talking to everyone in private. Do you realize how ridiculous that sounds, Mecca? That's not what canceling means. Like, going and talking to a few people and saying, yeah, she's being crazy or whatever, that's not canceling you. Canceling you is what you bitches are doing. You're going public and you're trying to get a lot of sympathy for you and basically, by extension, get everybody to fucking hate you and look at the chat. You're succeeding. You know, you may give lip service part of the time to, I'm not saying that people should unsub from Midnight's Edge or not, you know, watch their shit or whatever. You may say that sometimes, but the effect of what you were doing, hey, everybody, Tom is a piece of shit. Here's what he did to me. He's such an asshole. He made me feel, you know, horrible, feel sorry for me, and, you know, and remember, fuck Tom. And it's like, you're inciting a crowd, essentially, to, you know, if this were like real life or something, you basically it would be like you inciting the crowd to take up pitchforks and torches and, you know, storm Tom's house and you know, take him out. But because it's the internet, thankfully, it's like all they're doing is unsubbing from his channel and, you know, refusing to watch his videos and so on and so forth. So it's like, hey, you know, you're you are essentially canceling him or trying to, and him going and talking to a few people behind the scenes and telling them his side of things, so it's not the same thing. I mean, what does that mean? It's like, what, he goes and tells Gary, yeah, Mecca's a crazy bitch, here's what she's been doing, here's what she's been saying, and why I was trying to silence her. And Gary would probably be like, yeah, I would have done the same thing, Tom. That's that's pretty bad. She shouldn't be saying things like that. What does that mean for you, Mecca? That Gary's not going to have you on? He hasn't had you on in a while anyway, has he? So I don't see that it's a big deal. And it doesn't do anything to your channel per se. It's like you've still got, again, the farms have covered this. They pointed out that she loses like 100 subs a day or something every time she does a live stream and bitches non-stop about how terrible Tom is, because that's how many people it fucking turns off, because they don't want to hear that shit. They sub to her for for other content than that. So when she does that, they're like, I'm out. So anyway,
To unsubscribe from Tom. I'm telling you what I experienced. I don't need to watch Tom burn. I just need to get the hell away from him.
Yep.
And I need the questions, the constant DMs.
I don't need to
and the
watch
question of
while he
whether or not I'll go
burns,
back
but
and
I will light
eat
the fire and walk
cut.
away.
And I need to breathe the air again.
Yeah, fucking man. Jessica Butler says, with the 300 people in the chat are saying, we love the three of you, and Tom should fall down a manhole cover. Well, yeah, I mean, exactly. There's a lot of love and support here. I have never seen this much love and support on my channel for anything, including when shit's been going down with me. And don't get me wrong, guys, you've always come out and loved and supported me, and I fucking love you for it. But this is really serious. Nothing has happened. Nothing at this level of seriousness has happened in our community. And the way that you guys are being so encouraging, so supportive, and very open-minded. No one is grabbing the pitchforks one way or the other, and I need to tear everybody down and burn things down. And
Oh God, here we go. Tom literally canceled me, says Mecca. He is a literal SJW, and she definitely sounds like an SJW by not understanding the correct usage of the term literal. I, however, wanted revenge the second I saw he treated other women the way he treated me. Okay, well, you heard it there, folks, from the horses, well, the cow's own mouth. She wanted revenge.
whatnot. Everyone is listening and being measured and trying their best to understand the situation. And so while this is not a shining moment for some people and for parts of the community for what's gone down, it really is for you guys tonight in this chat and a lot of others in the way that you guys have asked for the truth, have looked for it, and have been very respectful to all parties involved. So thank you guys.
Yeah, you guys are awesome in the chat. Thank you so much. And again, I'm thankful for your openness. Basically, there's a lot of openness here. And I think that's what we need in the community. I think this is a great example of being open to hearing and open to, with compassion and stuff and hearing without this stupid cancel culture. And this is not what this is about. So thank you guys.
Ultimately, this is going to be what it's going to be. I don't expect this to end well for me. I did want to, however, I wanted to take the wind out of people's sails when they accuse this of, this isn't my channel. I'm not getting any subscribers from some. I don't even think my link's been posted anywhere. I haven't seen it in the chat. We're not advertising my channel here, is what I'm saying, guys. And I would appreciate if we didn't actually.
You have been advertising everybody's channels. It's been, I'm pretty sure, hasn't it been like basically nonstop in the chat? Hasn't it? People, the simps pointing out that, go sub to or saying that they are subbing to your channel or whoever, and haven't they said on stream, Mary may not have said her own, but she's here. Obviously, it's like if you're sympathizing with her, then you're probably going to want to sub to her channel. But she's saying go and sub to the other women that she was on whatever show with. Go sub to their individual channels. It's like she keeps she's done that over and over and over again. So you are advertising yourself, and you're advertising everybody else, and you're getting subs out of this. You're getting simps out of this. You're getting sympathy out of this, and you will. Jesse may be the only one raking in the super chat dough right now, but you will be getting the super chats in the future. you are riding this drama wave to greater success. I mean, yeah. Wish we would just be a little bit honest about that. There's the Super Simp again. I may have unfollowed Tom, but I never blocked him. If he does that to me, so be it. He's a man if he blocks me. If he can't check his ego, that's, I don't know, this is some run-on sentences or something, I guess. So be it. Means nothing to me, Tom. You're all screwed up, man. Grow up. Oh, God.
I don't need it. This is not about subscribers. This is not about money. This is not about super chats. This is not about gaining followers. This is not about notoriety. And if anything, I'm going to lose a whole hell of a lot of clout with a lot of people.
So it's not about all those things every time that you mentioned all of those things.
I'm not canceling my channel.
Interesting.
I am a strong woman, and I'm not going anywhere. I just am not stupid.
I'm a strong, independent woman.
I'm well aware of what this does to me.
But you're not of color, Mary. You're not of color.
Because people are going to be like, oh, can you even bring Mary on? And do I think Tom's being removed from the... No, I don't think Tom's going anywhere.
Back up. I went forward, I'm assuming, expecting this would kill my channel. Why would you have ever believed that? But I couldn't allow it to go one more second. My God, what is with these fucking... I go days without motherfucking robocalls or whatever, and then a whole bunch will hit all at once.
That would be stupid of me. To expect Tom to be removed. Tom has ingrained himself into so many places of this community that the idea that I could convince this community to remove Tom from it is absurd, and the ravings of a mad woman. I'm not stupid or deluded. That's not my goal here. My goal is to walk away with a clear conscience.
Not about money? Unsubscribe.
For the people who have questions, to have the answers they need. Here you go. I laid it out. I don't want to be screamed at anymore, and I don't want to be made to feel as though I sit so precariously.
Tom is just like J.J. Abrams. Now that's a low blow,
I had to
Mecca.
take my friend Steve and explain to him I'm not sure I'm allowed to really have you on shenanigans right now because Tom is so mad at you, and I don't want to.
Why is that his goddamn right?
Why are you even mentioning it? Why do you care? She's like, I'm not sure I'm even allowed to have you on. I mean, I don't think Jesse's going to be expressing it in the correct fashion, in the reasonable fashion, but she is at least expressing, worthwhile point. Why does it matter? I mean, no, she isn't. She's already started off badly because what she's just started saying is, basically blaming Tom and being like, why is that, why does he, it's like, he doesn't, though. That's the whole point. He can't control who goes on whose channel, who talks to... He doesn't control any of that shit unless you fuckwads let him. Seriously. None of you need to let him do anything. You don't need to let him do this crap unless you just want to. If you let him control you, that's on you. That's like I don't know. That's like claiming that you're a slave, even though slavery is not legal and you're not chained up and you have every capacity to just walk the fuck away and not, keep on doing somebody's dishes and laundry and gardening for them because they tell you to. And you're just like, well, I can't. I'm his slave. It's like, is he holding you there? Is he holding your family hostage or something? No. Does he have a gun on you? No. Does he have chains? No. So, in other words, you're just totally volunteering to do it. He makes me. No, he doesn't. He doesn't make you. He can tell you to do something or not do something till he's blue in the face, but he has no actual power over you.
say what you can do on your goddamn show.
Because Tom felt, he used to say that it was something to the effect of, I just care so much about the show and I think you should do things this way, what I would put it. But then the temper...
So in other words, he didn't even actually order you to do or not do something. He just suggested. That's all he did. Offer a suggestion. And you could have just as easily smiled and said, "Oh, thank you for the suggestion, Tom. I'll take it under advisement," and then done whatever the fuck you pleased.
Tantrums live on air and the storming off midstream and the only showing up 10 minutes before it's ending, or if at all.
God damn it! Look at this, Jad. Another fucking Tom is like Weinstein? ? Really? Is he? He invited you into his office while he was while he had his dick out masturbating onto a plant or whatever the fuck, weird ass story that we got about what Weinstein did to various people. What are you talking about? What is with these asswipes that jump to these insane comparisons? Fucking insane bullshit. It's like, oh, he's like Weinstein. Yeah, sure, of course he is. Tom is totally like Weinstein. It's exactly that level of bad behavior from him, right? Because him talking over people and him suggesting, not even ordering, suggesting to her what she should and shouldn't do with her channel or whatever, or her show or something, and him trying to get people to toe the company line, as it were, or whatever. All of that is exactly the same as someone who's been convicted of sexually abusing people. He has been convicted, hasn't he? I'm pretty sure he has. I don't know. I think he's been convicted, hasn't he? But anyway, but somebody who's certainly accused of all kinds of really disgusting sexual misconduct. It's exactly the same, right? Of course. This, what is wrong with these people that they make these absurd comparisons?
Let me know that it was
foul. I mean, everybody's going to be like, "Ooh, well, hyperbole," and it's like, yes. Yes, there's being hyperbolic, but then there's just being fucking insulting.
Below the line and do what he said, or find myself fucked, essentially, in regards to whether or not Tom would grace me with his presence anymore. It was all very uncomfortable.
Well, again, as much power as you let him have over you, that's it. That's all he had. You could have taken taken all the power that he had over you away at a moment if you wished to. Somebody in the chat saying to Mecca, was Doomcock exposed yet? Exposed about what? What the fuck is? Was this already the beginnings of the whole Doomcock thing, or what? I don't know. Tom threatened Rob's job if he continued making content with me that Rob and I write together on my channel. Well, again, do we have evidence that actually happened? And honestly, I wouldn't be overly surprised. I mean, if she's making herself potentially damaging to their business, and Tom's concerned about that, he probably wouldn't want somebody who's known to be part of the business associated with Mecca. When the hold thing, I think you mean whole thing, and that's would be misspelled as well, with Snyder, Tom, and Uche. Wait a minute. Oh, the whole thing with Snyder, period. Okay. Tom and Uche had Uche come on a Midnight's Edge After Dark and brought up EVS stream. Not once did Tom took up for EVS. All he said, it got took down. I don't know what that means. So apparently Tom had Uche on Midnight's Edge After Dark to EFAP Ethan's response to the Geeks and Gamers Snyder debacle. Which, that's interesting. Does Ethan know that? If he did, maybe he wouldn't have any sympathy for Tom. Don't know. But I mean, if Tom's trying to be on Uche's side on that, then I would join the chorus of "fuck Tom." Not for the same reasons, but yeah, it's like fuck Zack Snyder, and again, it's like I can be against Mecha defaming him and saying horrible things about his dead daughter, and also believe that Zack Snyder's a piece of shit. Uche is definitely a piece of shit, and if Tom turns out to be a piece of shit, it's like that's no skin off my nose, But in this particular instance, it definitely seems like all of these women bitching about Tom are pieces of shit. So that may be the lesson here, is that absolutely everybody involved, every single fucking one of them, is all absolute garbage people.
The next super chat in this was from Sean Russell. It said he sounds like he thinks he's a pimp. Perfect timing for that one. That's really, it is. Like, it's kind of how he conducts himself. It's behind closed doors. Like he thinks
and
he's
yet,
handling
like I
everything.
said, he obviously did not have a strong pimp hand.
It's not. It's and you guys, you know it, right? You know what it is. When that moment, the wordage between the lines. It would be a shame if this happened.
Yes, we all know what he was implying, or at least what you're claiming that he was implying. We all understand that. But we also all know that he had no power over you unless you gave it to him, and you did. So don't expect a whole bunch of fucking sympathy, bitch. So like, is the Fandom and Menace in a civil war with each other? It keeps looking like it's going to go hot, but it keeps being kind of like a cold civil war, I think. Also, Tom was proud of the drama between Uche and Mr. H as well. I don't remember that drama offhand. I don't know what that's being talked about, although I'd definitely be... If Uche and Mr. H are going up against each other, I'm definitely with Mr. H, because Uche, like I said, he's a piece of shit SJW fuckwad. Stig Kenobi says, Tom went nuts when I disagreed with him about Star Wars. Well, a lot of Star Wars nerds do that. I didn't buy it when he said Star Wars is fixed. Well, at what point would any idiot have said that? I mean, Tom's a moron if he thinks it was ever fixed. It's never been fixed. It's never going to be fixed. Look at Star Wars now. Not fixed. Yeah. Well, I'm assuming maybe what Tom was talking about was when they had Luke appear in the season 2 finale of The Mandalorian. It's like, well, that was not fixed, but it was a high point for Disney Star Wars. It's like Disney Star Wars has been less, was suddenly much less shitty than it had been for most of its existence. Disney finally did something right. It may not have been the first right thing they did, but it's one of relatively few right things that they've done. And so everybody kind of felt like, oh, this is a nice high point for us, and that was pretty much immediately killed by the firing of Gina Carano. So yeah, fuck Disney.
Or, oh, I just don't know if I can make it. Or, well, we'll see how I feel. When you're counting on this person, when you can't make a plan for what it is that you're doing without knowing what it is that they're doing and whether or not they intend to be a part of it. And so
well, look, if somebody...
Do or don't, but could you tell me one way or the other?
For fuck's sake, Mary, if somebody, regardless of why, is unreliable, then you start looking for somebody else. That should apply here as well. It's like if you want, if you need Tom or want Tom for something and he's not willing to be reliable, again, regardless of the reason why, then you start looking around for somebody else that could take his place. You might find somebody with an even bigger channel with more audience for you to leech off of that would be willing to participate in your show. It's possible. So, why not start looking? I mean, for fuck's sake. I think in my eyes, due to those allegations, he should be removed from Midnight's Edge. If Midnight's Edge wanted to save their asses and change their direction, I don't care, but in the world of WP, waste products, it needs to be done. Again, it's like, I mean, doesn't that sound like cancel culture? Again, I mean, to be fair, I don't think the women that are on the stream are actually saying that Andre needs to fire Tom and he needs to be removed from all of the Midnight's Edge shit. But there's plenty of people in the chat that are saying that. And they're all kind of, like, they're being upset over this is definitely being egged on the whole time by these women. So they're inciting. They're inciting, people to want Tom canceled. Again, these are just allegations. We don't even, and this person even says, due to these allegations, it's like, okay, so nothing needs to be proved. He just needs to lose his job. That is exactly SJW cancel culture. It's like, we didn't, we didn't look at the evidence. We just had somebody accuse somebody of something, and it's like, okay, you're canceled. Goodbye. You lose your job. Your whole career's gone. Fuck you. Hope you commit suicide, motherfucker. That's exactly the SJW kind of position on things, and that's exactly what these fuckers are like. So how is the Phantom Menace or any of their fucking audience, how are they legitimately different from the mainstream SJW shitbags? Increasingly they seem to basically be the same people.
And it's met with, we'll see how I feel, and we'll see what I think at the time. It's a very rough, it's a lot of hoops to jump through, and you recognize that you either continue to jump through those hoops, or you are dismissed and disregarded as no longer valuable, or you're ungrateful.
The super simp again. I think you mean met, backstabbers like Tom before. They don't last long. He's lasted quite a few years, hasn't he?
I can't tell you how many times he called me selfish and ungrateful.
How? Fucking how?
I don't know.
It doesn't even make sense.
But he has that complex about, like having like little channels that are coming up and, up in, the YouTube world, like, as you could say, algorithm and stuff like that. And, them coming onto the channel or whatever, and then watching them grow and then saying, well, I helped you, or I did this, or because of me. And then thinking that he has say in what you do or what you do with your social media and stuff. And that's what I've noticed him doing with a lot of, a lot of people, is he has that complex, like, oh, well, I helped you this way and that way, so now you have to listen to me kind of deal.
The super simp. Who the fuck is he? The super simp again. Check your ego, Tom. You ain't nothing, kid. The hell? Tom's probably older than that guy. Oh my god. Stig. He said I should be grateful too. Well, maybe he legitimately felt like you should, for having been on his channel, even though I am not a YouTuber. Wait a minute. Stig Kenobi's not a YouTuber? I thought he was a YouTuber. I never wanted to build a channel. Okay, so you're on YouTube, you just didn't want to build a channel. Okay, whatever.
I need to say that. Sweepy's absolutely fucking right, by the way. She called him a parasite. You're absolutely fucking right, Sweepy. All he does, go around to other people's channels and ride their clout. Midnight Edge isn't even his channel. It's Andre's channel. He just rides on Andre's clout. He rides on everyone else's clout. That's all he fucking does. He is a parasite. But I'd like to continue.
Go ahead and continue the chat. I'm going to go, I think...
Mecca... He was livid the second my sub count went higher than his, despite the fact that I had 7K before there was a Fandom Menace. Okay.
Pour a little vodka into an orange juice cup and...
Ooh.
Oh, yeah, we're going to go ham. Guys, it just takes 2 minutes. I'm going to go grab a drink.
It's a race now to see if we can catch up with Super Chats before Mary gets back.
All right, let's do this then.
Fucking race. Okay, Chad, thank you so much. Your incredible generosity tonight.
Liking levels $5. Will you be showing any of these DMs as proof? Evidence, not proof. Or anything that Tom has said in private, or have you already? Very good question. Wonder if they actually get to it.
I've been keeping with the deal. I've been taking massive hits every time you sent one in. This is clearly a person put in a position of power that has never been in that position and is now abusing it. Yeah, honestly, John, that's kind of exactly how I sort of followed this. Was like, when I first met him, he was sort of just in his little Midnight's Edge corner, and that was fine. And then as soon as he started getting involved in everyone's shows and trying to put guests for people and tell people what to do, and
smoking this whole
it started to go sideways and get ugly. I can't speak to how much of that was part of his character before any of that happened, but certainly, yeah, when you get into a position of power and you don't know what to do with it, especially if you maybe have certain character flaws that make you not always so nice to deal with, this shit happens.
Yeah.
But
some people are not natural born leaders, and you know, and I'm not trying to just say this is him or anything like that. I'm not. Okay, so don't take my words and twist them. But some people are not natural born leaders, and when they're not, sometimes they can't handle it in such a way. Sometimes you have to learn and grow from that. And I think maybe now this is about Tom. Maybe he did have some good intentions from the beginning, and it just got out of control for him. I don't know, but you know, I would like to think that in the beginning there may have been some good intentions, and then it just escalated from there to where, you know, he felt like he needed to dictate, and maybe his advice he was trying to give turned into something more of like, you do what I tell you to do or else. I don't know. All I can do is speculate, and I'm sorry for speculating on top of that, but it's just trying to wrap your head around this nonsense.
It is bizarre, because the thing is, it's not like, you know, we all just hated Tom and have been biding our time so we could shit on him. We all liked him, respected him, we're friends with him, and cared about him, and felt completely blind. That's again also part of why do you put up with this? Well, when your friend, it's one thing if someone just yells and screams.
Oh, and there's the fucking super simp again. I just unsubbed from all the Mead channels. All the Midnight's Edge After Dark channels? How many are there? I'm not sorry if he can't check his ego and be man. Well, it's time to chin check him, so be it. This guy must be a real piece of work.
You out of the fucking blue, but it's your friend. It's someone who tells you they care about you, who tells you they value you, who out of the blue just starts screaming at you, and then turns around and goes, "Oh my god, I didn't mean it," and whatever. And you want to give them the benefit of the doubt. You can get sucked into a position to feel like, "Oh my god, maybe they can't help it, and I should be more understanding of whatever they went through, of whatever got them to here." Or you make excuses, you make justifications because it's someone who keeps telling you they care about you and does things for you, as you know, Mary's pointed out earlier, has a big platform and is offering you something and is telling you and making you feel valuable as a part of that. So it becomes very confusing when you suddenly are on the receiving end of that negativity.
Oh yeah.
Demi Moore's tapeworm, thank you. I guess that explains why Tom is single. I mean, if he's like this in his personal relationships, then I'm not surprised. Ben Riley, thank you for the super chat. I know it might sound cheesy to people, but as a person who's half Liberian, half Black American, Black Panther actually resonated with me a lot. I've had a lot of the dialogues before. A Child of Two Worlds. I think the character of Killmonger is incredibly well written.
Oh yeah, no question.
Really, really
No question about that.
And sexy as fuck, but you know, it's just
Oh yeah.
that's to me. Xenomorph Skullhunter 79, thank you. From the ashes a fire shall be woken, light from the darkness shall spring, renewed shall be these women who are broken, the crownless again shall be queen. Little prophecy there. Prophecy. Thank you for that. Loki's Mornings of Mischief. Standing up for yourselves isn't canceling anyone. Been here long enough to see behind the scenes. We say in Valhalla, stand strong, don't kneel. Love you ladies, stand up and tell it how it is. Thank you, Loki's Mornings of Mischief. Thank you.
You came highly recommended to me by Mandy the other day, yesterday. So it's nice to see you. I've been meaning to offer you a follow.
Mecca. Gary will probably not allow Tom to say anything, or Tom will not be there at all. I'm not sure. I don't know. Not sure what that was about, but I would think that no, Gary will probably not be having Tom do any, you know, dirty laundry business on his channel. But as far as I know, he was on Friday Night Tights, and I think continues to be. Although, again, like I said, I don't watch it that often, so I don't know for sure.
Or a hello, a hi-ho neighbor. Hello.
Well, howdy-ho!
Yes.
I hope you don't smell like that.
Right.
Oh, good. Oh my god, fucking Helma killing it. Helma X. I should read your numbers too, because they're there. Helma XH834, so I'm not reading them because I'm too retarded to read right now. Now I know why Mary is known for drinking on Toxic Femme.
Okay, clarify that. Okay, so that is somewhat. I'm gonna like this is about honesty, right? Do I generally have a wine cooler while I'm sitting there? Yeah, absolutely. But let's acknowledge what the truth is. Have I had drinks on Toxic Femme? Absolutely. Most of that's self-deprecating humor, with the running gag being. Mary's an alcoholic because every Saturday I get drunk on shenanigans. And so that's generally speaking self-deprecating humor. I don't intend, it was never about letting Tom turn my liver into charcoal. So though I thought about it, but that's mostly an attempt at laughing at my own self. And I think that's important, right? Like, is Mary known for having a drink? Oh yeah, absolutely. I can throw down, I'd like to think.
Mecca. Tom feels entitled to scream at you at the top of his lungs the second he does one favor for you. Now, I do wonder, is he actually doing that? Is he actually screaming at the top of his lungs? Because, on that High Council stream, the last one that Tom and Mecca were on, You could say that Tom raised his voice there towards the end when he was getting really upset at Mecca for saying the shit about Zack Snyder's daughter. And he's he started raising his voice and saying, I shouldn't even be on here with you, and then left in the middle of talking. Did she consider that to be yelling at you at the top of his lungs? Because it wasn't the top of his lungs. Don't even know that I don't think it was really even yelling. He was raising his voice, but it wasn't actually yelling. But that's just the thing. It's like these women so far have had an impression of things that does not seem to fit with observable reality. And so that makes me wonder, is it him getting upset about something, perhaps legitimately so, like he did with Mecca, and raising his voice like that, and they consider that he's screaming at them at the top of his lungs? I do wonder that, because as I've said, it's like I have a female coworker that basically she accuses me of yelling at her when I'm not even yelling, and I'm usually not even talking to her. Like, I raise my voice a little bit, and she's like, "Stop screaming at me." And it's like, I'm not. What is your problem? So, I don't know. No, Gary will focus on the Lord of the Rings bad news tomorrow, but I think the situation will have to come to a head. I don't really want either outcome, because if Tom isn't there, it won't get addressed.
I could throw down with Cecil should the opportunity arise. But I also think that there's a differentiation to be made between self-deprecating humor and being like, yeah, Mayor's trashed on Toxic Femme. No, I put a lot of hard work into that show, and I always showed up ready. So
Yeah. Oh yeah. We need to make fun of ourselves now and then. It just keeps us.
Well, there you go. Why the fuck
Yeah,
didn't you
Jeff's
court
grandma,
Cecil
Jeff's grandma had a great
to
phrase that
replace
Jeff always
Tom
has,
on your
one of the key
streams or
people alive in our
something?
household, which is, if you can't joke, you better give it up.
Oh yeah.
Probably could have talked him into
own a
it.
cat. What the fuck are you talking about?
Mary puked on her cat. Vodka twice.
So, Jad, with the other
Yuck.
reason that I'm not streaming.
That's a hell of an alcoholic there if you're doing that.
Take deep hits, deep breaths from certain devices. I'm going to read. You have a slight typo, so I'm going to read this one as it's written.
Yeah.
Will he be on the next Friday?
Okay,
Night?
so
let's see.
Jesse
Let us see.
is
That
high as a
something
kite,
have
I guess,
no
while
insight
this is
or
going
knowledge
on.
about whatsoever, and I'm waiting with the popcorn just as much as everyone else to find out how that shit shake.
I'm not making any commentary on that. I've said it multiple times. I am not interested in burning Tom to the ground. I am only interested in making it clear what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, and getting the hell out so I can breathe again. That's it. That's all I'm doing.
Yep. Yep, indeed. Alrighty, and Elliot Davies says, you ladies should definitely start your own group stream channel. We would all watch, perhaps calling it something like the Fandom's Edge of Midnight.
Fun fact, I have a ladies' night stream. It's called the
Okay,
Babes
that's
and Menace.
really
And I'm very proud of
fucking
it. I'm actually
disgusting in
plugging
the
that shit
chat.
now. But
Stig
since you brought it
Kenobi.
up,
She had a cat. It drowned and puked.
And,
It is still there, under it,
and
in the
every
corner.
Wednesday,
That's really gross.
And I have the matriarchy as well on rotating channels, and we also, both of you guys have been on the matriarchy in the past.
Absolutely.
And it's absolutely
And as though Tom is actually here, which as near as I can tell he's not, the Super Simp keeps on addressing him as though he's actually present. Tom, all you've done is awaken a sleeping giant and fill him with a terrible resolve. That is quoting things from the Second World War is a hell of a thing to do for pointless little YouTube drama. I'm just saying. Oh man, it's just everything with these people is so over the fucking top.
It turns out a lot of the women in this community actually like each other and get along really well. All of us.
That's a great concept, right?
Right? Go fucking figure.
Exactly. We don't need a man to put us in a room together to ask us what our opinion is on shit to validate theirs.
Oh, yep.
Saying it like it is. Case out of 42. Thank you for the super chat. Helva XH834. Her suggestion for this, she said we should call it Marry the Night. I'm like, that's a good name.
Marry the night.
I am the night. I am the night. You wouldn't.
Did I ever tell you I have my phone? My phone calls me Batman. Did I ever tell you that? You didn't know that? Yeah, my Siri. When I asked Siri what my name is, she's like, "You'll marry, but you've asked me, but your friends get to call you Batman." So,
Mecca, I told Tom when it was ladies' night that it was crappy to have it on a man's channel. Well, why didn't you fucking organize it on a woman's channel then? I don't know. The part of the whole thing seems to be that these bitches want to complain about Tom, doing or not doing, whatever the fuck, and yet where are they and their actions and all this? It's like they're all kind of pretending that, oh, well, somehow magically when Tom's involved, we have no agency. You know, we can't make decisions. It's like we're completely at the mercy of whatever that asshole decides to do to us. And it's like, nope, you could have done your own thing at any point. You just clearly didn't want to.
My phone knows me as George of the Jungle.
God, there's another 40 fucking minutes of this shit.
I've seen that movie. I've watched since Jeff and I have been together. I think we've watched that movie together like 5 or 6 times.
I don't even
You
want
get
to
along with Tugs.
How
She
far are
loves
we
Brendan
into
Fraser.
this?
Dude,
Oh
he's
my
just-
god,
he's
we're
a-
almost
he's a
3.5
snack,
hours
he's a
in.
Yeah.
There's
All right, heavy
fucking
chat.
40
chat.
fucking minutes more.
Scrifer. Since I'm a guy who was raped, I thought I knew what rape was about. I was wrong. Stand strong against abuse. I felt the darkness firsthand. Stay strong. I'm so sorry that you felt that. And what you're saying is absolutely accurate. That there's, even if you haven't been raped, you know, if you've been in a situation where you've been taken advantage of sexually or in any other way, there is a loss of power you feel where you don't have an option. You don't have recourse. There is literally nothing you can do.
Okay, so she's agreeing with what I consider to be a really, really bad comparison to try to compare rape to, you know, just somebody, you know, trying to tell you what to do and you deciding that you feel like you can't do anything about it. It's like, but you didn't lose power because you did. Look, if somebody rapes you, then, I mean, I can only go off of what I would do, I guess. It's like, if somebody was trying to rape me, it's like, they know that they were they were doing something I didn't want them to do. Like, you know, I mean, I guess unless they knocked me out first or whatever. But it's like, I'd be fighting tooth and nail. It's like, I'd be trying to, you know, probably not just injure them, but probably trying to kill them. And so if they, you know, like, they know that the answer is no. You know, there wouldn't be any confusion there. It'd be like, nope, you know that I was not into that. And, you know, maybe if they're just so much stronger than me, I can't stop them. But be fucking trying the whole time. They'd know that I was absolutely against what they were doing to me. And the second that I had the ability to retaliate, probably with deadly force, I would. Although I can't advise other people to do that because technically that's a crime. Because if they're done raping you, then it's over. It's like shooting them afterwards is technically you murdering them, supposedly. It's not self-defense anymore. I'm not sure exactly, you know, why that, you know, well, I guess I am. I know why the law is written that way, but I don't know. It still seems like kind of bullshit. It's like if they just got done raping you, it's like, can you really blame anybody if they turn around and slit their throats if they're able to? You know. It's the waiting months or years later to then try to out them in public, Me Too them or whatever, and be like, all right, raped me. And it's like, you never said anything. You know, it's like, did you go to the cops? Nope. Okay. I don't know. But there's this weird thing where people decide that something, I've been victimized, but somehow they believe that no one's going to believe you if you say anything. It's like, well, that, you know, generally speaking, that does not seem to be the truth. That does not seem to be how things actually go. It's just like this. It's like these women kind of acting like, oh, no one would believe me if I came forward with these allegations against Tom. And it's like, plenty of people are fucking believing you, even though you're not offering any evidence to support it. They're just going off your word, just your emotion, just you crying. That's enough for them. That's enough for them to believe that you're the victim and that Tom is evil and he needs to be done away with. He needs to be canceled. Everybody needs to unsub from his channels, etc., etc., etc. You're getting all of that. And you keep on acting like you have no power, like you were trapped, like there was just no way out or something. And it's like, it's a grave injustice, in my opinion, to anybody who has actually been victimized. Like I said, forcibly, you know, held down, raped, you know, violated in whatever manner. You know, you're doing those people a grave disservice by suggesting that what happened to them that they really didn't have any control over, they absolutely had no control, is the equivalent of you having all the control that you wanted, but somehow emotionally you just felt like you didn't. Like there was actually nothing, nobody had a knife to your throat, nobody was holding you down and forcing themselves on you, nobody was doing any of that shit. There was just somebody there trying to get you to do what they wanted you to do, suggesting that there might be consequences, but of course, the reality is probably wouldn't have been, and even if there was, it's like, so what? Just it's like, if you don't want to be under somebody's thumb in that situation, then you just tell them that. You just tell them, I'm not going to go along with what you want. Or like I said, play the game in a way and just smile back at them and say thank you for the suggestion. I'll take it under advisement or whatever. Play that little politics sort of game with them, and then you go and you do whatever you were going to do anyway, and you don't pay any goddamn attention to them in reality. And that may end the relationship. That they may attempt their but that's the thing. It's like whenever people try to blackmail you, the best thing to do, if you're able, I mean, obviously, I guess you're not always able. I mean, if somebody claims to have proof that you murdered somebody and you actually did murder somebody, then yeah, I can understand how you feel like, wow, I'm trapped. But if you didn't do whatever it is, or it's really just a non-issue, or it's something that supposedly would be embarrassing or something that they're trying to hold over you, then the best thing to do is to just call their bluff. The best thing to do is to just be like, oh, you think you can keep me silent by trying to blackmail me? Well, I'll just take like whatever you're trying to use as blackmail or whatever. I'm just going to take that public and be like, yeah, this person tried to blackmail me this way. That's a bunch of bullshit, isn't it? And most people will agree with you. That's what what's his ass? I can't remember his name all of a sudden. God, David Letterman. That's what he did. Somebody's trying to blackmail him, and he just went public with it. He's like, yep, I did it. This is what they're trying to blackmail me about, but fuck that shit. So, I did something similar. I had somebody kind of trying to blackmail me with something that wasn't true, and even if it was, so what? It's like, it doesn't matter. And so they were clearly trying to get me to shut up about something that I was talking about, and so I just was like, nope, here we go. I'll just tell everybody. Just tell everybody, and be like, there you go. They weren't happy. Or if they were sufficiently cowardly, they were pretending that it wasn't even them who was doing it, but still. So it's just, they, like I said, I don't like this at all. I don't like this. I don't like this suggestion that people who've been actually didn't have any choice, and they were taken advantage of. They were they were raped or whatever. It's like, I don't like anybody suggesting that, oh, well, it's kind of the same thing as our bullshit situation that we could have gotten out of easily. We just felt like we were trapped. It's like, no, there's a difference between feeling like you don't have a choice and not having a fucking choice. Like I said, that is like the difference between, oh, I'm complaining that I'm somebody's slave even though there's no chain, slavery is illegal, and I could walk away at any time instead of doing their yard work for them or whatever, and actually being a slave back when slavery was legal, and being told to do something. It's like, if you don't do it, you're going to get whipped or whatever. If you try to run away, you're going to be hunted down, possibly killed. It's like, you're trying to pretend like there's a fucking equivalency there. It's like, there's not. There is no goddamn equivalency to that. Like, oh, there's a loss of power. There's having someone take away your choices. And then there's you giving up your, power. There's you surrendering and letting other people make choices for you. That's a big goddamn difference, Jesse.
And it is a horrible feeling. And it is a horrible feeling because the worst person, the person who judges you more than anyone else is yourself.
Yeah.
Is the person who asks you, who screams in your ear the loudest, why didn't you do more to avoid this, is yourself.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's fucking terrible. And that's
forgiving yourself's really fucking hard in that moment. Like where you I'll be careful with my words here, but that when you realize that in that moment you did what you had to do, right? And then later you realize that doing what you had to do was something you'd have to reconcile yourself with. That's hard.
Oh my God. All right. I'm going to go ahead and call it. We're going to, I don't know if I'll come back and do the rest of it in one final part or not, but for the moment, I am spent on this load of shit from these people. All right. No, like I said, hopefully we'll get this taken care of in one more video, or maybe I won't even bother because I think we've probably heard most of it. Although, like I said, I thought Mary was about to leave, but no, they're all three there till the end, I guess. So maybe not. And then some other upcoming video, I'll mention. I'll go over the Ramur campaign, I guess, or however that Rammer. I don't know how that's supposed to be pronounced. And we've still got that to do. Maybe we'll include it on the next part, because that's it's just a short clip. It's like 12 minutes or something of Mecha screaming at AVS, I think, or something. Or maybe she's screaming at somebody. I don't know. Anyway, and then I'm not going to go over it, but there are some notes at some point I want to make about the Mr. H stream, which, some of the things that happened there kind of lead me to believe that, there's more trouble brewing. There's more trouble brewing in the Fandom Menace than we've seen so far. I don't know whether it will ever break through to the surface or not, but it sounds like it might. So, anyway, figured I'd at least mention that briefly. Okay, until the next one.